Governor Lujan Guerrero has briefed the White House on significant federal policies affecting Guam, according to the list and discussions with the White House Associate Director for Puerto Rico and the territories. Those policies include the cap on Medicaid, Guam's exclusion in the Social Security Income or SSI program. The governor made note that although the CNMI is included, Guam is not. The governor also noted the long-standing stagnant allocation of federal highway funding for Guam. Additionally, the governor citing the Defense Base Act or DBA requirement that U.S. government contractors secure increased workers' compensation for their workers on U.S. military base overseas and in U.S. territories. The governor also cited other federal policies affecting Guam, such as compact impact, political status, as well as military affairs. The governor wrote that in late April, she wrote the president regarding the report to him from the United Nations Special Rapporteurs on the impact of U.S. military presence in Guam. The governor is recommending that the Biden administration establish an interagency task force consisting of relevant agencies, including DOI, DOD, EPA, the Department of Health and Human Services, Homeland Security, the U.S. Citizenship Immigration Services, as well as their local counterparts. It appears most elected and appointed officials have fulfilled the legal mandate that they take an ethics in government course, that according to an audit released over the weekend by the Office of Public Accountability. Local law requires elected officials to take an ethics course within 90 days of taking office, while appointed officials have 6 months to take the ethics course, with a refresher once every 4 years. Although almost everyone required took the ethics course, the OPA did report concerns within the audit, including a continuing problem with the lack of a single entity monitoring the compliance. The OPA had to contact agencies separately to acquire the data. It recommends an entity such as the Guam Ethics Commission be responsible for monitoring compliance with the required ethics training. Also, there is no penalty within the law for those who don't comply with the law. Since Friday night, we have seen a total of 16 new positive cases of COVID on Guam. That's out of a total of 943 tests recently performed. Our current case count is now 8,036 officially reported cases with 139 deaths. 108 cases are active, and there have been a total of 7,789 recoveries. Guam's CAR score is 1.0. Additionally, a total of 70,747 island residents have been fully immunized. And speaking of immunizations, a vaccination clinic is being held today, but it's for GW students, parents, and guardians at the George Washington High School gym in Manila. That clinic is from 9 a.m. to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Guam, in the meantime, also received shipments of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines over the weekend. That's about 32,000 doses as part of its May allotment. That's your news. Stay tuned for more on the link after the break.
Make it through the week.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Make sure you're connected. The writing's on the wall. 'Cause if your mind's neglected, stumble you might fall.
Connection is a human necessity, one we need today more than ever. And with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances. And it all starts with yes.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC. After a year with so many games and events delayed or unplayed, the world is ready for anything and everything in the world of sports. KUAM Communications is ready with more games, more championships, and more specials that are guaranteed to bring out the fan in you. Don't miss a minute of gameplay from NBC on KUAM TV 8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month we'll bring you the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer, and Docomo Pacific. Just more great reasons to tune in and turn on so you'll fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
Catch SportsLink on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday to hear about the latest in sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. SportsLink, brought to you each week by Cure Alkaline Water, airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. SportsLink is hosted by Dave Delgado through KUAM Sports, and he will make sure that everyone knows what is happening on the field, in the gyms, and everywhere in between.
Uno Go, delivering meals from your favorite restaurants and more, including delivering sodas and adult beverages from the Bottle Shack. Visit uno-go.com or download the app today. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook.
Looking for TV schedules, upcoming sports, or special presentations, or what you may have missed over the busy week you had? Well, look no further than KUAM Digital Digest. This weekly emailed newsletter puts all kinds of information in the hands of subscribers each and every week. Just subscribe and we will make sure you keep up with your favorites and stay informed and entertained throughout it all. Go to KUAM.com, click on the newsletter tab, give us your email address, and you are all set. Brought to you in digital partnership with King's Restaurant and Ruby Tuesday Guam. It's the KUAM Digital Digest, your weekly guide to the latest information and best entertainment on the stations and platforms of KUAM.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@KUAM.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
Catch SportsLink on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday to hear about the latest in sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. SportsLink, brought to you each week by Cure Alkaline Water, airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. SportsLink is hosted by Dave Delgado through KUAM Sports, and he will make sure that everyone knows what is happening on the field, in the gyms, and everywhere in between.
Jenny Chia. Chia! Chia! Winter season lover. Good morning. $6.55. East West Rental, Cabo Enterprises. Jack in the Box. At IT&E, 6:55. Sabrina Salas Mentanani still in quarantine this morning. Good morning.
Off today.
So the list is in from the Guam legislature relative to providing their 2 cents on the $660 million that were... Have we got it yet, Bree?
Yes, we actually ran a story on it in the link update.
Thank you.
But it's a pretty long list, actually, if I can pull it up since you kind of just mentioned it.
Yeah, I have it up here. Actually, if you were in here...
you have it.
We printed a copy for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right on. It's a thought that counts. Let me just kind of run through some of the bullet points. And so first of all, highlights, and this is a letter they sent to the governor. Their meeting, is it tomorrow or Wednesday?
I think it's tomorrow.
I think it's Wednesday.
You think it's Wednesday?
It might be, yeah.
Maybe it is Wednesday.
So, yeah, the highlights for the legislature's American Rescue Plan priority listing: direct assistance to individuals and families, $68 million. And this is in part the implementation of the RISE Act, which everybody keeps asking about. The Attorney General had come out and said, yeah, you can pay it. It's not discriminatory. Just pay it. It's okay. It's legal. But the governor's kind of holding firm. She wants the government and Guam employees to get some money, too. And I don't think anyone's saying they haven't been impacted, but they were working for the whole pandemic, and I think that's kind of why this RISE Act was passed into law. I mean, that's why they created this thing. Anyway, it's to provide direct payments to eligible Guam residents impacted by the public health emergency through the implementation of the RISE Act, which is already a law. Eligible individuals will receive a one-time payment of $800, and joint filers will receive $1,600, as described in Public Law 35-136. And then they've also got a small business pandemic assistance program with GITA, $35 million. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here, Bree, as I'm sure you know.
Right. Money, $233 million to expand healthcare services. Public health, $6.4 million. That is for offsetting shortfalls in the Healthy Futures Fund to support health inspections and safety monitoring of food establishments and businesses during the reopening of the economy. The Guam Memorial Hospital, $22 million for the existing hospital, and then $200 million for the new hospital. And many of you already know that the governor, in interviews she's done with the media, said that she planned on setting aside at least $300 million for a new hospital. So we'll see how that goes. Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, $4.5 million. This is the legislature's list of priorities that they submitted to the governor ahead of a meeting that is actually scheduled for tomorrow. $170,000 for DISID. This is to ensure comprehensive services are provided to individuals with disabilities and their families, despite fiscal year 2021 shortfalls. Infrastructure and technology upgrades. The legislature is hoping that $341 million will be prioritized, specifically GWA getting $52 million, DPW $30 million, GVB $38 million. So I know that the Governor Carl Gutierrez, he was asking for what was it? 20 million?
Yeah, it was 20.
Yeah. So, and then wasn't he wanting more though? for something else. I can't remember, but the governor, I mean, she's publicly said that Uncle Carl's going to get the 20 million that he asked for. And so GVB's put 38 million, and this is for recovery efforts and as temporary supplemental funding for the loss of tourism attraction fund revenues. Customs and quarantine, 25 million, GRTA, 6 million. The Mayor's Council of Guam, the legislature is hoping that they'll be able to receive 7 million. Land management, 15 million. The Chamorro Land Trust Commission, 25 million. And this specifically is for bringing in long-awaited water and sewer infrastructure to Chamorro Land Trust Commission properties to support the building of affordable homes for families and allow agricultural and economic diversification. And the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission, $1.5 million. GSWA, 8.8 million. Parks and Recs, the legislature is hoping 18 million out of the 660 million ARP funds will go to DPR. Department of Administration, 9.4 million. GPD, $5 million. This is to increase and replace equipment, patrol cruisers, maintenance vehicles, firearms, and other sorts of vehicles to increase police presence in the community. GFD, the legislature has put down 4.6 million to encourage rapid response and also just to protect the public health and safety of the community. Department of Corrections, $20 million.
Wow.
And this is right, the implementation of their master plans and equipment, including a new correctional facility. So that's a big one, actually. $20 million. The Department of Youth Affairs, $5 million. And this is also for the construction of a new administrative building. Judiciary of Guam, $10 million. And that is to support the timely resolution of cases in criminal and civil court. The AG's office, $4 million. The Office of Technology, $5 million. DRT, Revenue Tax, $10 million. And that one is to stand up programs that will support the agency's progress to continue automation of its services. Right. The Department of Agriculture, $5 million. Guam EPA, $1.5 million. ORDOT dump closure and post-closure costs, $27.1 million. The Veterans Affairs Office, $5 million. The legislature is hoping that the governor will prioritize $18.5 million to go towards workforce training diversification and direct student aid. Other funding, 3.2 to streamline and upgrade government services. And this priority list, the spending list, was actually signed by all 15 senators, so both Democrats and Republicans. And again, this meeting is scheduled for tomorrow with the governor.
Yeah. Did you see that $25 million for Chamorro Land Trust?
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Yeah, so that's also pretty interesting. I wonder how this is going to go though, because they really went in and I mean. It's almost like, oh, you want a plan, Gov? Okay, we're going to give you a plan down to the last penny.
Right. I think, well, in the letter that the governor sent over to senators, she did ask for, what are your priorities? What do you give me some ideas, and then we can discuss it. So I think it sounds like this is just a follow-up and a starting point for senators and the governor. So, the governor has an idea and the administration has an idea where they're coming from and where they'd like to see this money go toward. And, that each senator has oversight over these different agencies. Right, so you would think, right, that they had spoken with each and every one of the agencies that they have oversight over to talk about what do you want? What are your priorities?
You would think.
Well, at the same time, time you heard from, you would. But at the same time, the governor, and we've asked several of the guests that have come on, the directors, she's asked them for their wish lists. And so I think we got the hospital administrator. Last week you heard from Daphne. We heard from the chief of police. And I think you spoke with Dave Della Sola. I wish we had their list, right?
Yeah, so what was interesting to me, Bree, is that we've got these like front of the house conversations where the legislature's sending over a plan, but then you have all these directors and former Governor Gutierrez going backdoor, right? They're going directly to the governor and saying, hey, I want 20 million for GVB. And the governor's like, oh, here, I'll give you 20 million. So everyone's hitting her up. So it's going to be interesting to see how this meeting goes and, you know, just how cooperative the governor is going to be. Right, because that's what it kind of comes down to. Is last with the CARES Act, she was basically like, "Nope, stay in your lane. This is my money. I'll determine how to spend it." Yada yada. 7:05. So we're gonna be talking about this, of course, probably for the whole week, if not the rest of the year. But let's head into the Zoom room where, from the Physicians Advisory Group, we have Dr. Hoa Nguyen standing by. Good morning, Doc. Unmute.
Unmute. Okay. Hi, good morning. We're on Sabrina. Welcome
Good morning.
back.
Yep.
Thank you.
She's still in quarantine, Doc.
It's a nice room, so enjoy the view.
Yeah, she's got a really nice room.
I've been enjoying all 6 days of it. Trust me.
Doc, I guess we'll just start from what we were talking about here in the studio. Was we were wondering if when you came on, you were going to say, because this is something you always have said over the last year, anytime there's a big holiday, let's wait 2 weeks and see what happens. Are we saying that for Mother's Day?
Yes, we're gonna see, because there's a lot of gathering yesterday as we drive around, and we see how the case go. And the key here is half of our population have been vaccinated already. So as we expect the case to go up, we just, if the things work like supposed to be, the hospitalization will be still low, you know, so that's what we want, is that, you know, when people get sick, they won't be end up in the hospital. So that's what we were hoping for, if the immunization program are working. I know we over 50% now, so I said half our population been vaccinated. So hopefully, like I said, the case will go up as people drop their guard down, but the hospitalization will stay below 10. That's the key. So we see if it works. It should work.
Right. You know, when I was away and I was watching one of the press conferences that the governor had, she was mentioning, and maybe even it was Dr. Cabrera, they were talking about this new strategy for people that are arriving to Guam, where if you are fully vaccinated, that you wouldn't have to quarantine. And that was almost, I want to say 2 weeks ago. And she was talking about implementing that in 2 weeks. So do you know where we are with rolling that out?
I think that, you know, we should still roll it out. I guess on the 15th or something like that, probably early next week, that fully vaccinated people can go home without quarantine, and the unvaccinated ones still have to be on quarantine for just like you are right now. You know, the CDC really make that issue. I know it's pending on the state and territory to make the final decision, but I think that we should do that just to kind of incentivize people to get their vaccination. But we really have to reach the 75-80% marks here in the next 2 to 3 months.
Is that fully vaccinated with a negative PCR, or just fully vaccinated come on in?
Fully vaccinated to come on in. Yeah, I think that the physician advisory group, along with the surgeons and everyone else, feel comfortable that the fully vaccinated don't need to have PCR to come in.
Okay.
But the rest will need to have the PCR to come in.
Mm-hmm. Doc, what's the latest discussion on the possibility of lowering the eligibility group and extending it further down to children? I know I read that I think it was about the Pfizer vaccine that is something that they're looking at. Is that something we're also looking at here?
Sabrina, we hope to kind of have a plan roll out sometime next week or so. Once it's have a final clearance that we will start to vaccinate 12 and under. It's going to be a different campaign. I tell you, because in need of parents to be there to vaccinate, so we really have to think outside the box and start doing vaccination clinic. Not during the working time, but from 5 to 9 or something. So that way the parents are off work and they can go and take their kid to go vaccinated. So we have to come up with something that make sure the parents are there with the child to get vaccinated, because it's different population. 12 to 17. They have to be with the parents.
Okay, so you're saying that yes, we are having those discussions, and there could be a possibility we may and make some announcements starting next week.
Yes, I know that they already plan to order more Pfizer. Just because that's the Pfizer. So I know that plan to order more Pfizer than Moderna, just because of the 12 and to 12 to 17. I understand there's a lot of them, over 10,000 of them. So if we can reach half of them, it's help a lot.
Right.
Doc, what about the vaccination of the Department of Corrections? Do you have anything on that?
That's the DOC. They have their own clinic there, the staff, so they work with public health nurse to do that. So we don't get involved in them, but I know that they have their own clinic at DOC to do the vaccination. It's pretty easy to do. We are 5 months in. They should be self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm. Doc, we had Chima on last week, and he was talking about this new pilot program, which they actually kind of did a soft rollout on Friday at the rapid community testing at the Dededo Farmers Market, where you could come in and you could get your rapid test, and then you're given that option, right, if you want to get the vaccine. Have you heard anything on how that went?
Yeah, those gonna be rolling out a whole lot. Like I say, the last 20% or so is very hard to reach. Those are that kind of in the middle where they want the vaccine or they don't want the vaccine. So we have to make an extra effort and capture them where they are to kind of make it convenient for them. So the program for testing and vaccine together, that's another step that they try to get people to do. And I understand that it went fairly well. I don't know the number that how many they going to do that. They're also thinking of take the vaccine out of the industry as always. Just like on the private side, for AMC and JMC, we've been go out and vaccinate the industry, the bank, I know we did some for like company like Triple J and Car Distributor. We go out, the company asks a request to go out, and I know the Guard have a rapid response team that they divide up. So I think that's a certain number of members that they can go out to the public, to the industry, and vaccinate out in the industry as they get requested. So a little part like that would be very effective to try to get the last 20%. So you will see that there's a lot of little parts everywhere just to try to get people to get vaccinated to reach 80%. Like I said, the school is a big one. As we decrease the age, the percentage to reach 80% getting higher, because that's because the age limitation. So we really have to reach that 80% mark. When we calculate 50%, we calculate based on adult, based on the time where the age limit, where the vaccine can be given. But now we add that 12 and below 16. We really increase that percentage. So that means there's more people out there who need to vaccinate it. So the percentage really going to be decreased as you decrease the age. We have to work extra to do that. So we have quite a way to go to get the rest of the population vaccinated. Again, get vaccinated, and I think Dr. Cabrera will agree that the more people get vaccinated, so you have to make sure that you protect yourself by getting vaccinated.
Doc, some of the previous conversations we've had in the past was this whole database on who got the vaccine, right? And so I think what I heard when I was away was that when they go forward with this new, if you're fully vaccinated, you won't have to go into quarantine. But the other side of that is that you have to prove that you're fully vaccinated. And they mentioned something about WebMD or Web you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. WebIZ. So yes. How do you do that? Do you ask public health for a printout? Do you have to email them? Because there's some people who are probably off island right now, and this might go into effect, and they can't get a printout. So how does this work?
Yeah, I know that they plan to put a person at the airport to verify your vaccine status. It's all the manual process that you do. I know that they are working some type of system to verify digitally through the computer, but privately, we're going to roll out a program, the QR code, to verify. I think that we're going to roll it out sometime, a soft rollout part sometime the end of this week, and by early June, we're going to roll out a QR code program that is on your phone. You have a QR code you scan, and it verify your vaccination status and along with your last testing. So that way, when you go somewhere, you don't have to carry a piece of paper. You can apply that to go to a restaurant. You apply that to go travel. You apply that to some event that you fully vaccinated. So it makes it easy because you can lose a piece of paper, but you cannot lose your phone. So the QR code will be on your phone. It's all HIPAA compliant, so there's no private information there on the QR code program.
So can you kind of just explain that a little bit better? You said the QR code will provide proof that you've been vaccinated and your history of testing?
Yes.
COVID testing?
Yeah, it's a program that we roll out basically based on your database on the WebIZ on the platform that basically pull out your type of vaccination, the date of your vaccination, and what happens, just like you go to a restaurant, you have the little QR code that you scan it with any camera, on the iPhone, and then have your picture on it, so it will tell you, how many shots you have it, and also if you want to include it, be the last test that you have been done to see if it's negative or positive. It's a way that it's going to be like that for the next year or two. I think that nationwide, there's no national program. I know there's several programs that do that. Every state right now kind of verify themselves. There's nothing that nationally can do. But at the same time, the program can also go through a clearinghouse to try to verify if you have a vaccination in California, you have vaccination in Lujan and Florida. There's a clearinghouse that you can go through to verify your shot. So the program will use clearinghouse to verify the shot as an offer.
Is this public health is going to be running this?
No, it's on private side. No, we public health. No, I'm not sure. They are working on their own ways. But we cannot wait for that. So on the private side, we can move a lot faster.
Okay, so what's public health going to do? It's just the email public health and ask them to send you a letter of verification that you were vaccinated?
Yeah, right now I think that on their part, they're going to, you can request a letter from public health for verification of your vaccination status, or they can have a person that at the airport to check on your web IC. But like I said, it's a very manual driven, and it's a long. So we have to move forward to make it easier for our people to have the QR code. A soft rollout would be the end of this week, early next week, and then the final rollout would be the beginning, first week of June.
Who's doing the soft rollout then? You said the private sector. So who are we talking about? Like GHRA or AMC?
We work. AMC will be working with GHRA to try to roll this thing out. So it's benefit our island. So I think that, like I said, on the private side, we don't have to deal with procurement and everything like that. We can roll it out and make it so it's much faster way. By dealing with the government, with the own procurement, everything is too complicated. It might take weeks and months to do that. So it doesn't.
All right.
So it'd be convenient in your phone, Sabrina. We can probably the soft rollout, but I can put it on you, so that way you can see how easy it is. Uses QR code.
Yeah, but see, I got vaccinated at the field house, so I didn't go to a private clinic. So
But so far, I know we have 4 people in the hospital, so the hospitalization is still low. So just keep asking people to make sure. The clearinghouse can go through the web IC, or we can pull data from web IC and make the QR code.
Doc, we had a comment here. Even if vaccinated, you can still test positive and spread COVID. This is from Jesse. Wouldn't it make sense to still require people traveling to provide the negative test?
It doesn't matter where you get vaccinated. The web IC, the local database should have your data there, so we can use it.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Hoa. When do you guys meet next?
To answer that question, when you're vaccinated, yes, you can still catch an infection. If you are asymptomatic, meaning absolutely no symptom, you happen to get on Thursday. But let me finish that answer for that one, Sabrina. If you vaccinated, you're fully vaccinated, you can still catch the virus. But if you're asymptomatic and you get tests for travel, the likelihood that you will transmit the virus is very, very low. And that's the thing, is that the viral load is very low, that the likelihood you can give to somebody is low. The only time that we would test the fully vaccinated person if they are symptomatic, that means that they have cough, cold, congestion, that's when the viral load will be higher. But the majority of the fully vaccinated person will have low viral load.
Right.
So the risk that it gives to you is very, very low. They have no symptom at all.
Your connection's terrible, but let me try and squeeze in this.
Again, we're going to go to any site to get the vaccine. Chris, Sabrina?
Yes, Doc, can you just answer this one real quick from Bev? For individuals who don't want to get vaccinated for their own personal reasons, how will this affect them traveling into Guam? Will the mandatory quarantine apply to them even if they have the negative test?
Repeat that again.
Doc, I'll just text you because your internet's really bad today. Okay, right on. Oh wait, let's see.
And you can that's the people, okay?
Doc, oh wait.
Be safe.
Be safe too. Okay, bye. Right on.
Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye. All right. Hey, Bree.
Yeah.
Did you get all of those answers? When?
I thought it was cool. He was saying that, the private sector isn't going to wait for the government. So by the end of this week, they're going to roll out this QR code to verify whether you've been fully vaccinated. And it'll also be able to tell you when the last time you got tested and the results. And then next week, he was talking about how they're going to roll out if you're fully vaccinated, right, you don't have to quarantine. So that was a lot of information, although it was kind of choppy. But I think we got the gist of what he was saying.
Did you get
Definitely
an answer?
Have to follow up.
Bree, did you get an answer? Was there anything that Dr. Hoa said that could address Bev's comment about individuals who don't want to get the vaccine for whatever reason and the impact that'll have on them coming into Guam?
No, other than you'll have to quarantine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Also, there you go. Senator Duenas, Minority Leader Senator Chris Duenas joining us now. Thanks for jumping on last minute notice, Senator, but we wanted to ask about this.
The priorities list that all 15 senators signed off on and sent over to the governor.
Well, first of all,
did you guys...
Senator, your meeting's tomorrow. Did you at least, Masaya, wish the governor a happy Mother's Day so you're going in on some good vibes?
Well, for purposes of this morning, I'm going to have to wish Bree a happy Mother's Day and welcome.
Aw, thank you.
And Chris, thank you for the opportunity, and Jason Hoffaday. Bree, you're still in jail, I see. So, but yes, we have, we've on a number of different chats yesterday, we were spending a lot of time sending out Mother's Day greetings. So we've greeted all of our fellow officials, and so consider the governor formally wished a happy Mother's Day.
Right on. That being said, what time's the meeting tomorrow, and how are you feeling going into it?
Don't got an exact time yet, but I feel good. I think this is a very unique situation whereby you have all 15 senators signing on to this. I like to call it a draft plan, but all 15 senators signing off in principle to a lot of these priorities. As you know, the speaker and I in the last couple of weeks have looked for some additional guidance from the governor, and we haven't received that. So we went ahead and went forward with our list. And one of the reasons why we were looking for the guidance, Chris and Bree, is that we didn't want to run into some of the priorities the governor might have, and we didn't want to get a back and forth and maybe pitting us against each other, because even in the legislature, to have accepted this draft unanimously, I think you very rarely see that out of the legislature. So, but we feel very good with the list. We feel that it definitely prioritizes things like the RISE Act, direct assistance to our people, a lot of money in there for training opportunities, subsidizing some more things for GCC, Department of Labor. You've got a lot of infrastructure programs from long-standing issues with $25 million for Chamorro Land Trust properties to try to get surveys done, to try to get some infrastructure put in. $224 million for the hospital, which we think is, first of all, $24 million for the existing structure and $200 million for the new hospital. And so we really think a lot of IT, technology measures in here. We're hoping that with the kind of money we put forward on IT, that we get this one government of Guam approach once and for all to kind of bring all of these systems together and not having all these bifurcated systems that maybe don't talk to each other, particularly with land management and rev and tax. Chris and Bree, that's where a lot of escape revenue has been, and a lot of reconciliation when it comes to land transactions being recorded and just, property values and the like. Just not having that connectivity between land management and rev and tax really has caused us, to have a lag in terms of realizing revenue through real estate sales and stuff like that. And just also general issues with regard to property owners and tax obligations and the like. So we think we've hit some really high points with regard to this plan, and we look forward to seeing what the governor has to say about it. I see Jesse Alec on board as well. There was some additional resources for the Mayor's Council also. And so we hope that everyone will, at least in general, understand the direction that we're going so far.
Senator, were you guys in contact with these different agencies getting this priority list? Because I'm wondering if there's going to be a duplication, because they've also been hitting up the governor on the back door.
Mm-hmm. So that's a great question, Chris. A lot of these projects were brought about as the result of Office of Finance and Budget. And this was really a good job with the speaker, myself, and others working with the legislature, saying, what have been the long-standing issues with government entities that provide services to our people that don't involve staff salaries, increases, or additional money for staff, so that they can handle that in their general fund budget? What have been the long-standing issues with regards to IT stuff, with regard to infrastructure? I think there's some money for at least the plan or a building for DYA, DOC. There's a lot of key infrastructure programs in here. And so it was based upon, Office of Finance and Budget, which of course every year goes out and prepares the budget for our government, including the Mayor's Council consideration and the like, saying what are the long-standing issues? And so a lot of these ideas and thoughts were generated from perennial issues, particularly around infrastructure, that have been neglected for years, that have been requests from government agencies. But we wanted to make sure they were in the line with what services are given to the people, like land management. If land management's IT is once again upgraded and gone through and connects to rev and tax seamlessly, as well as all the recordation of properties, title companies can produce things much faster. Land management, cadastral maps, and everything else can be upgraded, and we can get real-time ideas of what our properties are looking like. Just a lot of these things that businesses and our people in general rely on the government to do that have been lagging for so long. So, Chris, that's where the list was primarily generated from, was these agencies and their requests over the decades.
Right on. Mayor Alec, did you want to jump in? And because I know you guys have also been communicating with Adeloop about what you want out of this ARP, right?
Yes, for sure. Thank you, Senator, and thanks to all the senators for supporting our need for a cleanup. And so I do know that all of that money, actually, the $7 million is actually towards cleaning Guam up. And so we do know about our littering issues. And we do receive money from the Recycling Revolving Fund, but we're hoping that this is definitely supplemental to that, so that we could do one clean sweep of the island and have the necessary resources to maintain that. And that's including heavy equipment, perhaps an operator, and maintenance and service, because that's one of our bigger issues is even if you give us a backhoe and big tractor mowers, we need to make sure that it's maintained and serviced. And we're hoping that with this 7 million, and we're just hoping that it will actually end up in our hands. And we have had that discussion with not only the legislature, but also with the governor. So we're hoping that both angles will meet, and we'll certainly see that to fruition.
Mayor Alec, was that 7 million the amount that you had requested in your wish list to the governor, or is it lower?
No, that 7 million is actually thank you to the legislature for understanding our need to increasing it to 7 million. And so we were really looking around 3 million, and then we tried to work it within 5 million. And then the legislature saw that, this is really what our needs are. These are really what our needs are, and these are how we can tackle the larger areas and the bigger litter areas. And so the 7 million is a comfortable budget for us for cleanup, and that's really only for cleanup. And so we're hoping that that'll address not only recycling, but also address all the other trash issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I can, yeah. Go ahead, Bree.
The spending list, this is based on 664, right? Anticipated ARP money.
That's
but
correct.
We've kind of heard anywhere between 620 to 664. How flexible is this list?
Well, and that's the thing. We did, we thought we built some decent flexibility, and I think the grand total, if I'm right on all of these projects coming from the legislature, is somewhere around 500 and maybe 524 to 530. So we actually have a leeway still of 107 million, and we wanted to make sure that kind of flexibility was built in as well. Of course, it depends on how strong the governor is going to continue to her commitment on the 300 million for GMH. And so a lot of that, I think that's really going to be where we're at in terms of what the flexibility ends up being. But as Mayor Alec was mentioning, exactly when we saw, their needs and we saw what they wanted to do, because it looks to me, and Mayor Alec can expand upon this, it looks to me like the mayors want to do a once and for all. You guys have done such a great job on pointing out the perennial issues with regard to littering, dumping, all these things. And I think the mayors are onto something here. I think that if they're funded properly to make sure that they get the support with equipment and also operators and the like, and they're just going out there and pointing out in the villages where we go out and clean Guam. I think after that, we can really do some strong monitoring, surveillance, and other things, and start catching these derelicts that will go out and do these things. If we really hit it with a wide approach, straight away. And so I wanted to compliment Jesse, and that's why we saw their need, and we wanted to just make sure that they have the resources to do it wholeheartedly. But yeah, Bree, there is some flexibility in here. The numbers are, like I said, once again, based on the requests from agencies before. Some of those requests maybe are going to be updated, that they've done a certain amount of IT work or some of this other stuff. And so it could ebb and flow, but we've also built in some flexibility there, not knowing what the governor's priorities were.
I see that.
Go ahead.
Oh no, the 35 million for small businesses, is that really going to be enough?
Well, we figured that Gita had already requested that 37. So what we're really trying to figure out is what exactly do we need to do, and what is the need? We want to benchmark on what has been the successes of Gita so far. We want to benchmark on applications that have been approved. As you know, there's separate funding also that's coming out, that's been talked about, or maybe on the way, for restaurants alone and the hotel business. And so we want to make sure that we set these amounts to where we can benchmark going forward. But we thought that it was a good amount to start from. What we really believe, and Jesse, I don't expect you to comment on this one. What we really believe is the fastest way, particularly from the Republican caucus side, to get our economy going is to reduce the BPT with all this cash infusion and the ability for for what we're going to realize in the ARP and going forward. We really believe that what businesses really need is their own capital, as well as they're trying to struggle through these times to be able to live with a better tax bracket for themselves going forward. So we can give cash infusions to businesses, we can subsidize businesses, we can help through their losses, but really the true recovery is making sure that they can manage their month-to-month operations. And so the 4% BTT is something that we're really looking at.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit more about the Department of Labor funding? Because, what are we, 19% unemployment rate?
Right.
And so the money that's set aside for DOL, how is that going to help rebuild our workforce and get people back to work?
As you know, Bree, the federal funds have really always been the source. And of course, these are federal funds, but they're under a standalone grant that's been given to supplement. What we realize is this ARP is multi-year going out. And so if we set aside that amount for labor, things are going to change. We've been talking about this, expanding our economy, diversifying. There may be additional skills that are going to come online in the coming years, in the year to the next, 2 years, in areas of technology, in areas of, there's talk about transshipment now and setting up different industry and what. So we're looking at not only the current needs and what the current labor is asking for, and what GCC and UOG and things like Trades Academy, they have identified jobs that are called, in the labor force, they call it demand-driven. So we know what our demand-driven careers are in the service industry and some of the technical industries. So we want to make sure that anybody who needs to skill up or get a new skill, that it's not just the labor funding, there's additional so that as the need becomes available. We also that diversification might come online faster than anticipated, and we want to make sure that those that don't have the means to get the skills that they need for these new industries, that they're able to skill up quickly and be subsidized.
I did want to ask, because there's like 20 million, at least the last I checked, or we heard, in money that is owed for like the quarantine and the isolation facilities. Do you know, is that being paid through a federal funds and then reimbursed by FEMA? I can't remember how that all works, because I noticed that nothing in your list, and we haven't heard anything from Adeloop on how we're going to pay for all that, and is it coming from these federal monies that we're getting?
Right, and so that's one of the top questions we're going to ask the governor when we start the meeting, is going to be, what are the current obligations in the government of Guam? What are the current resources available under the prior plan, prior to the rescue plan? And also what resources are covered by FEMA under the quarantine, to make sure that when we're talking about this 664, and once again, Bree, this 664 is a solid number from the governor. That was in her letter to us twice. And so we're taking that as the number, the confirmed number. So we're taking the 664 and using that basis as being the new money, which they say has not arrived yet, and they haven't received the eligible programs list yet. But our first question is going to be, are there any outstanding obligations that the government of Guam is going to confront with the current revenue streams that you have, and also the FEMA obligations, and also updating to make sure that those reimbursements have been approved. And so those are really our top three questions going in to start off with the governor.
Well, Senator Duenas, I want to thank you for jumping on. We're getting Speaker Terlahi after the news at 8, so we'll get her take on it, as I know this was a truly a real bipartisan effort with all 15 senators signing on. I mean, you never see that when you guys all agree on something, so this is pretty big. Mayor Alec, can you hang out, though, because we got a bunch of tough questions for you.
Hey, if I can, just before we go, I really have to do this, because the speaker, it really was her leadership, and both caucuses, we were so impressed with when we brought back, this list and this thought process, we were just really happy that the members from both sides said, you know what, that's a good draft. Let's go forward and make sure that we meet the governor's request. And my absolute hats off to the speaker. Her leadership has been very, very strong in this area, and I look forward to listening what she has to say. Hopefully I've covered some of it, but she's going to do a good job. And thanks a lot, Chris Bree, and Mayor, go get him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, welcome home.
Thank you.
All right, Mayor Alec, here we go. You can ask him about that thing, right, Bree?
That thing.
Yeah, what's that thing?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know about what thing. Is there a thing? All right.
You know, one of the things though regarding this, the American Rescue Plan, one of the things that I think I didn't really look at the list completely, but I'm not sure if the Department of Agriculture is funded for animal control. And so that's such a huge issue for us because animal control is really the function of the Department of Agriculture. And so that division needs to be fully equipped with animal control officers and their PPE so that they could really take care of our growing animal problem. And it's not just dogs and cats, it's pigs, chickens nowadays, and you know, everyone's complaining about it. And so, you know, we're really limited as far as the mayor's office is concerned, and we use our, you know, our skills, our ingenuity to figure out how to capture wild chickens and even pigs. So I'm really hoping that I just thought about that. I don't know if anyone included that in Department of Agriculture, but it's definitely something that I'll speak with the legislature about and with that.
Mayor, are you considering for the rounding up of the stray chickens, like enlisting anybody who maybe like retired cockfighters? Because you got to be sneaky fast, you know? It's like when you're going to grab that chicken.
No, I don't know who we would enlist. We have our own way of doing it, and it's not the best way, that's for sure. It's time consuming, and it just doesn't always work. So no, we don't have a plan for catching chickens at the moment.
I used to hate that when they used to tell me, go in the coop and get that chicken for Cotapica tonight. Like, are you crazy? Okay. Bree's giving me Bree's got a serious question.
No, I was just going to say that in the legislature's spending plan, it's $5 million that they set aside. So a portion of that funds would be used, of course, if approved, to assist with Department of Ag's efforts to curb increases in the stray animal population through an expanded facility at Game.
Okay, great.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay, well that's important because that's one of our bigger problems, and that's why our roundup is, you know, it's slowed down and it's paused every once in a while because we don't have the capacity, or Game doesn't have the capacity to accept the animals that we catch. And at the same time, I mean, that's catching dogs the way we do now, or trapping them is, I don't know, it's what do you call that? I'm looking for a word, but it's, you know, it's just, we live in 2000, you know, there's not a better way to catch dogs than that. And
you know, Mayor, I gotta say, it just seems like you know, you guys do just about everything. It's like, what is it that the Mayor's Council of Guam, you know, doesn't do, or that the mayors and their staff don't do? I did want to follow up because we've kind of asked some of our law enforcement agencies. We've also asked DOA, Mr. Byrne, on the payment of you know, COVID pay. Has the Mayor's Council been receiving their COVID pay?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, we did. No, we have not, and we're working on it. We have the staff have not received, I believe, since January.
And is that a paperwork issue? Because I know that's something that DOA has said that it's very meticulous.
The paperwork is in. I don't know what the funding issues are. Initially, it was stopped in January because we were informed by DOA that the Mayor's Council no longer was eligible for the pay, and then as the months went on, I believe it was in April when we were informed to go ahead and submit the timesheets for January to April, if of course the employee worked. And so we all kept our timesheets for our staff and whoever was eligible for the pay, and that was resubmitted to DOA, but not yet received the pay since January.
Do you know, Mayor, offhand, how much money in COVID pay we're talking about that's due to the staffers? Mayor? He froze.
That's kind of interesting, right, Chris? That they did he say that they were deemed ineligible at first?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
What?
There you are. Hi, Mayor.
And they're
Woo! I lost you. The Taltomona took you.
I know. I thought it was my question. So, Mayor, do you know offhand how much money in COVID pay we're talking about that's due to the Mayor's Council employees?
Gosh, I don't have the figure offhand. I can get it to you, but I don't have the figure from January.
Why would they say you guys were ineligible for the COVID pay?
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't look further into it. I do know that we were ineligible. Initially, DOA just sent us a memo that we were no longer able to process our COVID pay for our staff. And so then that was sent to our executive director, and then it went out to all of us. Of course, you know, there was questioned, and then I forgot how it was, what they were referring to, but there was some reference as to why we weren't eligible. And then again in April it came up, and so we asked again, and then that was when we were informed by the director to go ahead and resubmit them, and so we resubmitted it, and that's where we're at now. But I don't know the total.
Ineligible because you were hosting vaccination clinics. Ineligible because
Exactly.
you were doing food distribution. Ineligible because you were doing community testing. Which one?
Right, exactly. And I know what you're talking. I know. And so we were asking the same thing. Of course, we couldn't push too much forward because we were already at a shortfall, and we don't have, you know, we need to make sure we can meet our regular payroll. And so adding all that, you know, it's if we're not given the extra money for it, then we won't be able to pay for it. And that's what, you know, we have to rely on that. But I don't know. I mean, it was just it was a little mess, but it's supposed to be corrected, but they haven't received the pay.
You said it was a real mess. Hi, Jay Mayor.
Hi, Jay. All
but
right.
you know, one of the things I prefer to work on happier things. So we're doing these the small business. We're trying to create a log of small businesses in the community. I know we've talked about that with our program, Ibisino and Mommy program for the 19 Villages project. And so every village mayor has a log that is supposed to include all the small mom and pop businesses within the village, the cottage type businesses, the best empanada, lumpia, seamstress, electrician, carpenter, those types of things. And so we really want to create a good solid list of those types of home businesses that we have in our villages, so that we can compile an island-wide listing and hopefully get that on a website of some sort, so that we're able to utilize these resources. And we're seeing more and more home businesses come up, and we're hoping that we can really compile a good list. And so we've been working on it for over a month now, but we know they exist. We know that they're out there. We know they're selling their product of some sort, and we're asking if they could please register with your mayor's office so that we can include you in this in this list that we're putting together. And of course, that's through BUMA, the nonprofit organization BUMA. But then there's other legislation that we're working on that will strengthen that as well, with cottage-based industry or cottage-based businesses with Senator Blas. So hopefully, working on both sides, that could really be a strong program for our home-based businesses. And we have a lot, there's just so many options out there for small home businesses. And we really want to promote them. We really want them to earn some money for the craft that they provide us. So that's big. If we really want to push that out.
Mayor, we did have a comment, Mayor. Where are you with the homebound vaccinations?
Homebound vaccinations. Well, homebound is ongoing. So if you have a patient or a loved one who is homebound and has not yet been vaccinated, they just need to call the mayor's office so that they can register their name and their caregiver with public health, and public health will come out. And so that's the homebound vaccination is ongoing. It doesn't matter what village you're in, just call your mayor's office and register their name and their caregiver, because we'll also vaccinate the caregiver. And I know that we did that through all the 19 villages, and that was a real big a push. But then there's still some stragglers, so that we want everyone to get the word somehow. So spread that word that they can still call the mayor's office, and it's ongoing.
Got it, Mayor.
Mayor, do you have any update on the reopening of the senior citizen centers? Are you guys talking about that? I mean, we're at 70% right now. Immunization rate.
We've been talking about the senior centers, and one of the things that we have to factor in is the concerns of the grantor, right? Because this is federally funded, and so we want to also make sure. So we want to ensure that their concerns are addressed. At the same time, we want to make sure that all our manamko are safe. And so it's like Dr. Wen said. I mean, the partying over Mother's Day. I mean, that's kind of, I'm a little worried about that too. I mean, I saw that myself. So we're really concerned about keeping our manamko safe. And if we cannot have them in our facilities properly distanced, we know they'll have face masks. We know they'll have hand sanitizer, soap, and water. We know that for sure. But, keeping the distance, proper distance, that's going to be an issue, especially in our larger centers where they have hundreds of seniors in their centers. So, of course, in the smaller areas, perhaps in Agate, Santa Rita, even down in Lujan, perhaps they could accommodate. But again, we all agreed that if we cannot accept 100% occupancy for all manamko, then we're not going to open until such time. And we talked about different options about alternating schedules for the manamko. So, a certain senior comes on certain days, and there's where we're gonna deal with equity or inequity, right? And how do we do that? And like I said, it's like, gosh, our manamko's always right. And even if you're right, you're wrong. So you can't tell them, tan so and so or tun so and so. It's like, no, they're right. So if they want to come Monday through Friday, guess what? They're coming Monday through Friday. So we have to be cognizant of that as well. And so I do know there's some manamko that are really wanting to get back in, and there are, but still, I think there's a majority that are understanding that safety is paramount.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, Mayor, we got to run, but thank you so much for your Monday morning update. We always look forward to our time together.
Our Wednesday meeting for the village commission, if you know, tomorrow, 6:00 at Aston Mayor's office.
Okay. Is there any anticipated change to the village name, Petey?
Not for PT, but maybe Agani Heights.
Okay. All right. There you go. Look out, age. Okay, Mayor.
Have a good week.
That's that. It's 7:58. We'll take a quick break, and we're coming back on KUAM TV right here on the link. Good morning.
We got your 6.
at 6 a.m. with The Link on Breeze 93.9 FM. Bree and I connect you with all the latest news and information you need to know to start your day.
Then check back with Guam's news leader at 6 p.m. for the day's top headlines with KUAM News Primetime.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and everything else in between with KUAM Digital, we got your 6. Good morning, Guam. It's 8 o'clock. My name's Chris.
I'm Jason. Good morning, everybody.
Yes, and this is The Link, Monday, May 10th episode of The Link. Good morning, KUAM TV. You guys are looking beautiful on this Mother's Day in the States, Monday. Happy Mother's Day on all the mothers and the single dads out there. Again, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, to the dads who wear both hats, too.
There you go.
For Mr. Moms out there. There's
Right.
a lot of them.
And also to the moms who wear the dad hats, too, like my mom, single mom, so she gets Mother's and Father's Day. 8 o'clock again. The show brought to you by Calvo Enterprises, IT&E, Jack in the Box. Good morning. Sabrina Salas-Mantanani will be joining us very soon from Quarantine Central at the Dusitani Hotel. Also on the way, Speaker Therese Terlahi about this meeting with the governor that's happening tomorrow. They don't even have a time yet. Senator Duane said, we don't know a time. Well, clear your schedule. When the governor says 2 o'clock, you better be there. Who else we got?
Welcome to our world. We hear there's a press conference. So it's like, all right, I guess we're not doing anything at 3.
Yeah. Dr. Juan Flores, Catholic School Superintendent. Sergeant Paul Tapau. There's unfortunately, a lot of crime stuff that happened over the weekend, so he's jumping on too. Tina Blas from the Judiciary of Guam, also slated to make an appearance on the show this morning. Good morning. We also have a great little segment from our nanas to our nannies, which is awesome content for you guys that's coming up here at 8:01. Sabrina Salas-Mantanani. Good morning, Bree.
Hi. Good morning.
What's the update from quarantine this morning? What was for breakfast?
Breakfast, it's a turnover. Orange, eggs, hash browns, and I think some kind of patty. Or sausage, maybe. Sausage patty. Maybe. Not sure.
Day 6 of quarantine, so we were expecting that you're going to get swabbed today, Bree?
Yeah, they said anytime between 9 and 12, they'll be coming.
Wouldn't that be cool if they did it on the show?
Yeah, that would be.
There you go.
Oh, man, everything an awesome mom needs.
Wow, plenty sausage. 8:02. Let's go ahead and get into the news now with the very latest from the KUAM News team. Live from the Dusitani Quarantine Hotel, Sabrina Salas-Mantanani. Good morning, Sabrina.
Day, good morning, everybody. 2 people were arrested early Sunday morning after taking police on a high-speed chase in a stolen Jeep Wrangler that started in Maina, then to Tamuning, to Harmon, to Dedito, and then ending with their arrest in the village of Jigo. While in the Chalancota area of Dedito, the driver rammed 2 marked police cars. 3 officers had opened fire, but the Jeep fled the area. It was eventually located at a home parked along Chalon Emsley in Jigo. Arrested on a slew of charges were 26-year-old Luis Pateco Camacho and 20-year-old Leilani Caitlin Wright. Both were booked and confined. GPD, in the meantime, is conducting an internal affairs investigation into the incident. All officers who were involved were placed on administrative leave. In other news, the Guam Police Department is having a tough time not only hiring police officers, but keeping the ones they have on board. Here's more.
I wanted to be a police officer, but after 4 or 5 months in, he goes, "Man, Chief, I can't do it anymore."
Others, according to the chief, are leaving to work for the military police.
I think they're doing a lot of hiring because I was speaking to another agency head, and he told me that he lost, I think, 10 or 12 officers to Navy police.
The chief is not only having a hard time retaining officers, but recruiting people to join the force. Ignacio cites that out of a list of 25 eligible candidates, at least half declined going through the process.
I don't know. I mean, is it pay? Is it the working environment? Is it the police profession that they're just not interested in anymore?
And if it is pay, the chief is hoping something will be done about it.
It is disheartening, that a person who's willing to put his life on the line and get shot at, slapped or stabbed or kicked, is getting paid $11 an hour.
The chief says he has had discussions with Adelup and has been told that a competitive wage study is on the horizon, with law enforcement being prioritized. Additionally, a public hearing is scheduled for Monday for the Post-Attraction, Retention, and Incentive Act of 2021, or Bill 34. The legislation would authorize the Post Commission to come up with the standardized pay scale plan for all peace officers. The hearing is scheduled for 10:30 Monday morning. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Sabrina Salas, Matanani.
With more news, here is Tyler Matanani.
One and 10 half a day, everyone. I'm Tyler Matanani with your headlines here on The Link. In a case that will decide the scope of the governor's quarantine powers, the Guam Supreme Court heard oral arguments Friday from attorneys representing Adelup, the Public Defender's Office, the Attorney General, and the legislature. Nestor Lecanto has more.
The governor is appealing Superior Court Judge Elise Iriarte's ruling that limits her power to order quarantine during a public health emergency. Judge Iriarte ruled that under local law, travelers have the right to legal counsel and to petition to quarantine at home rather than the mandated government facility. Attorney Leslie Travis represents the governor. Attorney Brian Eggleston is from the Public Defender's Office representing the travelers.
To the extent that that the Emergency Health Powers Act purports to delegate that authority to the Superior Court of Guam, they can't. The legislature can't delegate any more authority than they actually possess. And in this case, the Organic Act does not give the legislature power over quarantine. That power vests in the governor, pursuant to the plain terms of the Organic Act.
If the legislature has no power to define the standards by which quarantine decisions are to be made, then in determining whether a quarantine of a particular individual is lawful, the court really has only the Jacobson framework that the governor, as articulated by the governor in review, and the standards that the governor herself sets forth for the quarantine. And it's fair to say that that's not a check because the governor gets to define those standards.
Also weighing in as a friend of the court to oppose the governor's motion on the separation of powers argument was legislative legal counsel Anna Wanpat Borja, who argued that Guam's Emergency Health Powers Act, cited by Judge Iriarte, is constitutional.
The legislature, of course, must exercise restraint, but we argue that it's consistently acted within the bounds of the Organic Act and within the parameters articulated in Verdalia. Thus, the legislature requests that this court uphold Section 19604 and 19605 of the EHPA as valid exercises of the legislature's inherent power to protect the health, safety, and general well-being of the people of Guam during this public health emergency.
But Adelup counsel Travis says by law, the governor's authority is clear.
By the legislature's interpretation, the governor can't disagree with what the legislature wants the policy to be. The legislature has the ultimate authority, and that's wrong. We know that because Verdalio says it's wrong. The governor has the ultimate responsibility under the Organic Act. The legislature can pass laws, but they can't pass laws inconsistent with the Organic Act.
The Supreme Court has taken the issue under advisement. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
There's big money to be spent. Senators have come up with their collective list of priorities for the $664 million the governor will be getting under the American Rescue Plan. Speaker Therese Talahi sent a letter to the governor today outlining more than $660 million in spending. The breakdown includes $68 million for direct assistance to families and individuals and families, including $30 million to implement the $800 RISE Act payments. Senators also want to spend $233.1 million to expand healthcare services. This would include $200 million for a new hospital. Although the governor has said she wants to set aside $300 million, the lawmakers' list also includes $341.1 million for infrastructure and technology upgrades. This would include $52 million for GWA to avert immediate rate increases. And finally, senators also want to spend $18.5 million on workforce training and diversification and on direct student aid. Governor Leon Guerrero had asked for the list last month ahead of a meeting with senators that's scheduled for Tuesday. Some of the results are back from ongoing random drug testing at the Guam Police Department. Chief Steve Ignacio says that out of the 115 officers and civilians who were tested to date, all have returned negative. The chief adds, however, 74 additional employees will be tested to reach the goal of testing up to 75% of the GPD workforce. May 5th was Cry Du Chat Awareness Day, and one mother spoke with KUAM's Isaiah Uggan about how the unique syndrome hit close to home. Here's more.
Cry Du Chat is also known as 5p-, occurs when there is a loss of genetic material on the short arm of the 5th chromosome. Its main characteristic is the kitten-like cry or soft cry that is due to an underdeveloped larynx. 41-year-old Jamie Lonnie Guerrero Salas is a Dededo resident and is a mother to 2 beautiful daughters. Her youngest daughter, Savannah Jo, was diagnosed with Cry Du Chat at birth.
When I delivered with Savannah Jo, I had to have an emergency C-section. And with that, after Savannah Jo was finally delivered, it was her high-pitched cry that alarmed Dr. Santos. And from there, they had her tested for her chromosomes or her genetics. And then from there, it was sent off to Honolulu, confirmed that she did have Cry Du Chat, which is the deletion of the short arm 5p chromosome.
Salas explained that it could have happened at the moment of conception.
When the sperm meets the egg, and then from there, the chromosomes are built together, and then the 5th chromosome, a portion of the 5th chromosome was deleted.
She says that she was unfamiliar with the condition because back in 2012, Savannah Jo was the only one on Guam diagnosed with Cry Du Chat. Despite the lack of resources on the island, Salas says that Savannah Jo is doing well because of her awesome support system.
I owe it all to my support team at home. My parents, my daughter, my niece, everybody, her teachers, they are so supportive of Savannah Jo and the willingness to take the time to be patient. We have to modify everything to kind of get her to interact with her lessons and whatnot. We had to create a whole new thing for Savannah Jo. So basically, I really owe it all to them. I'm just there. They are my true supporters.
Salas shares some of her daughter's challenges.
Savannah Jo is nonverbal. She still needs assistance to walk. She needs self-help. She needs like 99% self-help. She's still learning to feed herself. Again, she's nonverbal. She does have a wheelchair. She's learning sign language thanks to my daughter, her big sister, Janisha Jordan.
She shares this message to parents who may have children diagnosed with the rare condition.
Man, don't give up. It does take a lot of patience and a lot of education. We just got to do what we got to do, little by little. Don't give up. Continue to look and explore and see what works for your child. Educate people about your child's condition and their syndrome. Introduce them to society and the community, little by little.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
Stay informed 24/7 by checking out KUAM.com or downloading the KUAM News app, available for iOS or Android. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
Thanks, Tyler. It appears most elected and appointed officials have fulfilled the legal mandate that they take an ethics in government course. That according to an audit released by the Office of Public Accountability. Local law requires elected officials to take an ethics course within 90 days of taking office, while appointed officials have 6 months to take the course with a refresher once every 4 years. Although almost everyone required took the ethics course, the OPA did report concerns within the audit, including a continuing problem with the lack of a single entity monitoring the compliance. The OPA had to contact agencies separately to acquire the data. It recommended that an entity such as the Guam Ethics Commission be responsible for monitoring compliance with the required ethics training. Also, there's no penalty within the law for those who don't comply with the law. Since Friday night, we've seen a total of 16 new positive cases of COVID-19 on Guam. That is out of a total of 943 tests recently performed. Our current COVID case count is 8,036 officially reported cases since March of last year, with 139 deaths. 108 of those cases are active, and there have been a total of 7,789 recoveries. Guam's CAR score is 1.0. Additionally, a total of 70,747 island residents have been fully immunized. And speaking of immunizations, a vaccination clinic is being held today, but this is for GW students, parents, and guardians at the George Washington High School campus gym in Manila. The clinic is from 9 a.m. to 3 o'clock this afternoon. Guam also received shipments of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, or over 32,000 doses, and this is just a portion of the allotment due to us for the month of May. And with tomorrow news, here is Kim Concepcion.
Buenos days to get something to sa morgan ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familia Mizo di First Hawaiian Bank. Departamento de Salud Público dan Sebastian Sashat para makontinue COVID-19 na test siha para komunidad desde las 9 gayagan hasta las 12 gitaloani gwinisiha na lugar. Gimatis dia 11 gimazo, giaji hagas carnival na lugar, giza tizan bargada. Giwebes dia 13 gimazo, giza zigo na gym. Gimatis dia 18 gimazo sa giaji hagas carnival na lugar, giza tizan bargada talo. 250 na tawtawgi para fan mates kada dia gwini na schedule. Tinisisita no 60 kulan malango para mates. Mapafesen hamdo na paron suli guatu ye jan mizu ID card na gailit katu dati sina mas ki 4 na tawtawgi kada uno na kareta. Tipa fan mates sa disepa fan bueta para fan pasehu huzong gi isla. Agang ni Departamento de Salud Público dan Sebastian Sashat gi Northern Community Center gisais 35 75 25 patsais para mas informasyon para este siha na test. Otro artikulo gua siya risuto man huzong gi na diseman mates beneno para member ni Guam Police Department. Ilang niya FNG na departamento si Steve Ignacio na gisyento 15 na opisyad dan si Bit ni man mates todo man negatibo resiton niya. Ilang niya na 64 tatanan na empleo para fan mates para fatto tina gi 70% gi todo ni man matututugwi hinalugad. Asunto gin nikotti mas nuevo na informasyon por ikausaw niya por man rape si Luis Anthony Vargas dumaskan sa gobernamento dan sigidas mamatinas motion ni abogan niya si Vargas para acquittal. Ikote sa mga preba na motion para palo kwenta ni matsaki na si Vargas. Lafafa na mas kwenta por primer dan segundo grado na criminal sexual conduct por hatakin bas ni un menor de edad na Palawan niya tungo ay 2018 na sakan. Por makontinue kasaw niya giikote gitaluan in business. Gui sa bagan niya dyan hefe ni the Public Defender's Office, Steve Torrey, sa paroagang i-permit na testigo niya no asyan ng DNA. Yuto muna asunto, uno na kumpanyan bond rating, Moody's, sa manakahulog grado ni karamihan guahan para stable, disti negative. Guam Economic Development Authority sa makredito estinay na dalanto, pwedeng kantidan minsan sa lapi ni mafatumagi guahan gini federa para inasiste ni pesti. Gi-news release lang niya gida na preste na tinalaika esta stable. Pinelog banggit marstat kalo na gradong kredito desti man maposiha na anyos. Zay grado gin ni Moody's no BA1 para general obligation bond sa marstat kalo na grado entry 20 anyos na tempo. Ilang niya mas gida na guhan sa uno gidididi na ekonomiyan tourist no positibo grado niya gidurante ni pinesti. Para Guam News Network, wow si Kim Concepcion. Yasunto yung finut sa muro sa presenta sa ninafato ni Familia Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
June makes the best malasadas in Hawaii, a fact not lost on Daryl, whose brother Byron is cooking the onaga he caught at a secret fishing spot with his girlfriend Malia, who used to work for the Shave Ice Guy, whose second cousin Vince drives the school bus ridden by Calais. whose auntie makes the best malasadas in Hawaii. Everything here is connected, and with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances, and it all starts with yes.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Uno Go, delivering meals from your favorite restaurants and more, including delivering sodas and adult beverages from the Bottle Shack. Visit uno-go.com or download the app today. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook. KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
After a year with so many games and events delayed or unplayed, the world is ready for anything and everything in the world of sports. KUAM Communications is ready with more games, more championships, and more specials that are guaranteed to bring out the fan in you. Don't miss a minute of gameplay from NBC on KUAM TV 8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month, we'll bring you the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer, and Docomo Pacific. Just more great reasons to tune in and turn on so you'll fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@kuam.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
I see nati untungu tagi tiningo puthagu jatiwa saka hau dangin undingu lohuli hagi pani zahan lagu gi matamu zapata tu maski pabel sangan lo tu hongi telu na pon na puti du na pagu ni gwahu gagagi magagi fionmu apu magi ga pagang sabe sangan ni isturam tahabu zam apu magi ga pagang sabe sangan ni isturam tahabu zam
Lanny, can you
I see nothing.
Welcome back to The Link on this Monday. Let's call it Monday Mother's Day because, you know, we so much of our audience is like...
Let's call it Mom Day.
Mom Day, yeah. So happy extended Mother's Day. If you're on Guam, if you're everywhere else in the world, we wish you the very happiest and most beautiful Mother's Day at all that you can possibly have. Let's go out to the National Weather Service's headquarters right now in Guam. If you've never been there, it's over in Tidzin. It's the place where like all those really huge golf balls are, as they are so often misclassified, where Len Idlet has probably been up since 2 o'clock analyzing charts, going over multiple screens. I'm so jealous because he's got every single kind of computer known to man. And Len, how... I know you and your family are very, very close. You guys were generous enough, your family was, to share your family Christmas with us and everything. Wow. But I know, in particular, you're very, very close to your mom.
Oh, yeah, very close. We're a very close-knit family, despite the 8,000 miles between us and them. But I've been on the phone with my mom and my stepmom, and I have to call my grandmother in a little bit, probably after this broadcast, before she goes to bed. But yeah, we're a very close-knit family. And so we have to maintain these close relations, especially with my brother and me being way over here on the other side of the globe.
Who talks to your mother, your stepmother, and your grandmother more, you or your brother?
I don't know. I don't monitor my brother's phone lines since we split apart in different residences years ago.
and you said that even though you and your twin brother Brandon is older, right? By like what, 7 minutes? You said.
Yeah, he's older by 12 minutes.
12 minutes, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, we like to stay in touch. And unfortunately, with our job, we don't get over there to the East Coast too often. So with our contract, we get a trip called home leave. Since we're a overseas post with the Weather Service, we get a home leave every 2 years with a new contract. So I am scheduled to go home to visit late July through August. And then I'll be back for the entirety of typhoon season. I don't want to be away from the region during typhoon season. I want to be here hands-on for all the weather that happens. But yeah, I look forward to my trip, July and August, to visit family. And then my brother will probably head home around Christmas, January, early next year. So we'll see.
Well, we really appreciate the dedication and the devotion you've made to teaching our community about like what the weather has in store for us and everything. And as the beneficiaries of that, we want to salute you and say, like, thanks for all you do. But I know, as I said, as testament to that, you've probably been at this for, like, I mean, it's only barely even 8:30 now, and you've probably been doing this already for, like, 5-6 hours already.
Yeah, I slept in until 3 o'clock this morning, so it was actually refreshing, since usually I used to be in here doing this broadcast at 6:30 in the morning. So now having that extra time, I can check emails.
You're welcome.
Relax. Yeah. So I have to shut my blinds now because it's daylight out there. So yeah, it's
bright light.
All right. Enough chit chat. Let's clock in and get down to official business here.
We go.
Work week weather brought to you by Docomo with Lennon Idlet. Go ahead, Lennon.
Now, you were close, Chris, earlier this morning talking about the showers. There are definitely showers out there today, but more so for Tinian and Saipan. This is our water vapor showing that the moist atmosphere in the blue and the yellow, the drier atmosphere. So you see all the stuff moving in from the west. That is not, we're not in a monsoon. This is the upper level stuff, like 30 and 40,000 feet up. So we have strong westerlies in the upper level, but it's all trade winds below 25,000 feet. And that's what we're going to be seeing for much of the week. Now, if you go down to the south, my goodness, there is just abundant moisture down there. And that's going to be the case, at least for the next 1 to 2 weeks. We do have a disturbance down there, east-southeast of Plau. Talk about that shortly, but abundant moisture all the way across the viewing area from 130 to the dateline across Micronesia. And the visible imagery, this is showing what's actually at the surface. You can see that easterly moving trade winds. This is the showers. Sorry about the reflection in the screen, but these are the showers. A lot of that scattered shower activity, that's the coverage that's increased from isolated. That's primarily across Tinian and Saipan, kind of like what we were seeing on Guam the last couple of days. A little bit drier for Guam, so not so bad. But we're going to see those showers. They won't be sticking around for long. It's going to come across the island, be a quick soaker, and move right off. And they'll probably be accompanied with winds upwards of 25 to 30 knot gusts. But the rainfall gradient, this is the 10-day numerical forecast model, accumulated rainfall over the next 10 days. And you see that tight gradient, much drier for Guam and the CNMI, but all that red moisture, that's indicating about a foot of rain or more for most of Micronesia below 10 degrees north latitude. So we could see a little bump in some of the moisture later this weekend, come up closer, but really not much to speak of as far as like any major weather. So go to the slides, Jason.
Yes, sir.
We'll cue that up. And of course, the first slide, I have a lot of photos from my mom and my grandmother and my stepmother in support of Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to my mom, my stepmom, and my grandmother. These are pictures of when they were here on Guam. My stepmother at the bottom center. She's on the Carabao. And,
I was going to say, she's riding the Carabao.
She had a blast and she was squilling the entire time. And I think she's probably watching us right now from Elizabeth City. So and she's probably hating me right now, as well as my mom. You see that little picture of my mom just on the right-hand center. She's in the closet of her house. That's where she goes to take cover when there's thunder and lightning. So I don't know where we got the weather genes, because if there's thunder and lightning, we don't want to be in a closet. We want to be outside and observing it. So yeah, they probably are both mad at me for showing these pictures, but many great memories. We miss you all. And so it's great to share this experience with our family again. The next slide, Jason, the headlines, not much to speak of out there. And that's rare, and it's pleasurable for us because we can actually take care of other duties as needed on shift. Moderate risk of rip currents primarily along the east-facing reefs. If we have a slight surge in winds, that could bump up to a high risk of rip currents along the east-facing reefs. The fire danger is down to moderate because of the rainfall we've had over the last 3 days. And the moderate drought does continue, but it could be analyzed for slight improvement. Micronesia, drought information statement continues. We are watching an invest area 96W. That is rated as sub-low by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. Next slide, current conditions, east winds about 8 to 10 miles per hour. Those winds will increase through today as the trade winds bump in from the east, and I'll show you that shortly later. Partly to mostly cloudy skies with isolated showers across Guam and scattered showers north of us in the CNMI. Current temperature 81 degrees, and we are running above average for the month of May in rainfall. So the next slide, this is the regional picture. What we're looking at, 96W is centered southeast of Koror, and that's going to be moving slowly westward. It could be passing near or just south of Palau later this week. The prognosis for it, we don't expect much intensification with this system. It's a very disorganized and weak system, and we expect it to remain so as it moves through the Palau region and then on towards southern Philippines. So that's the good news for them, but we will be watching this closely over the next several days for any development. And again, the next slide shows this is the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. It is not posted on the webpage as it's rated as sub-low, and that's basically, we're watching it. There's a low-level circulation. We'll be gathering information on it. This shows the polar orbiting satellite showing the winds over the waters. Lighter winds to our west, all those blue areas, those wind barbs, those are 10 to 15 mile per hour winds with much stronger trades east of Guam and Saipan, 15 to 20 knots across much of the area with areas of 20 to 25 knots. That's going to be coming our way in the week ahead of us. So expect it to be a typical drier trade wind pattern, breezy at times over the next week or so. The next slide shows that close-in picture of the week's disturbance well south of Yap and Nulu. Not much to speak of. The strongest winds right now are on the southeast side of that circulation, about 15 to 20 knot winds with some pockets of stronger winds, but just very disorganized, and that's the good news. As long as it stays disorganized, it won't be much of a problem for folks in Palau. Next slide, sea conditions, combined seas at 5 to 7 feet, primarily of an east trade wind swell at 4 to 6 feet. We don't expect much deviation from this current pattern in the seas, at least for the next week. So we're going to see much change in seas and surf as the trade winds persist through the next several days. So the week ahead, today, partly to mostly sunny, isolated showers for Guam, more showers for the CNMI, east winds at 15 to 20 miles per hour, combined seas 5 to 7 feet, and winds east at 15 to 20 knots over the waters. The surf will be at east at 6 to 8 feet. Once that surf reaches 9 feet, if it does this week, that's when we have a high risk of rip currents along east-facing reefs. So we're just about borderline. North reefs 2 to 4 feet. Midweek, partly cloudy, isolated showers. Winds east at 15, 20 miles per hour. Combined seas holding steady at 5 to 7 feet. In the weekend, we could have another weak trade wind disturbance bring more showers for the weekend and the winds will still be up there as we go into the weekend. So that's all I have for you this morning. And I hope Sabrina's having a great time in quarantine at the hotel.
Yeah, Landon,
Looks
kind
very
of
luxurious.
interesting. Yeah, Landon, obviously she's still in quarantine right now, but the moment she left, it started raining, and then when she came back, the weather got pretty dry. So quite literally, ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
All right.
Well, it would be a sunny week this week, so.
There you go.
right.
Landon, thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Landon.
Have a great day.
All right. That's Work
You
Week
too.
Weather brought to you by Docomo Pacific with Landon Idlet from the National Weather Service. Just a really quick break, and we're coming back with Speaker Teresa Lahi next right here on The Link. Good morning.
Celebrate Jeep Freedom Days.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@KUAM.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV 8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentation, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, Bud Light Seltzer, and Docomo Pacific, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
I'm searching for you. Give us on the mic again. Sing the original song. Yeah. I'm gone. So let me tell you about this girl, yeah, she's so fine. And every single day she's running through my mind. And I just wanna call her mine. Because your smile makes my day. And you take my pain away. Oh my darling, love me back. 'Cause I'm gone.
Hey, good morning, 8:35, The Link. Good morning, KUAM TV. Happy Mother's Day. Right on. I really won Mother's Day.
You won?
Yeah, I won it. My siblings, they don't know it's a contest. I mean, because I wrote my mom a letter. And I was sitting there the night before Mother's Day. I was like, I'm going to talk to my mom tomorrow and just tell her, how grateful I am. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to write it down. So I wrote a nice little letter, and I got her a bunch of these. We went to the cathedral gift shop and then got a bunch of these little medals. The medals, I think. I don't know if they're called medals. They're medals? Pendants? Yeah. And got them blessed. And anyway, so my mom is, she's super Catholic, obvious. She's tomorrow. But she was kind of like, oh, yeah, that's cool. But the letter, and then she was forwarding it around. To all of our family. Like, okay. It was a little personal, but right on. Anyway, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And happy Mother's Day, Speaker Teresa Lahi, and thanks for joining us. I know it was a little last minute, but we wanted to just jump right into this American Rescue Plan listing that you guys, basically the governor shot a letter and said, hey, what are your priorities? Send me your ideas. And boy, did you guys ever send some ideas over. A very detailed list of where you guys would like to see this $664 million go to. And I kind of wanted to start, Speaker, if we could, because we did have the minority leader on earlier. And a lot of what we see in this list, I like to look at it as really trying to just hammer down some problem areas that we've had in terms of like shortages, right? So I see $14 million GCC, UOG, and this is for GCC, it's the advancement of GCC's apprenticeship program to develop and train Guam's workforce to meet industry needs, especially in areas that are critical for economic recovery and healthcare. And then another $7 million to the University of Guam for direct financial aid to students in need through the Student Financial Assistance Program, and to increase scholarships for nursing, social work, other health-related programs, teaching programs, and Protect scholarships for medical school. So just in these two listings right here, I can see that kind of the posture you guys were doing was like, hey, we need to kind of look beyond tomorrow and maybe into, the near future, and kind of like hammer down a lot of these areas where we see these perennial shortfalls with nursing, with, medical schooling and all that. And was that kind of you guys' mentality when you guys sat down together, Madam Speaker?
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you recognized that. It was, of course, we know people are hurting still. They're unemployed and, in need. And so we wanted to address those needs directly as possible. We gave some direct aid. But this type of aid is to retrain them. And if you're familiar with this apprenticeship program, which I know you are, is they get paid while they learn. And this is the key for us. So if we're going to just, instead of just handing out the money, we want to get them an opportunity as well at the same time. So we give them paid apprenticeships, hopefully, or scholarships where they can get paid while they learn. And then the government and Guam, we are all going to benefit from this by these people filling the needs in these industries and education, healthcare, that we have been critically short for years. So I'm hoping it's a win-win-win.
Win-win-win. I like that. And then going into this meeting, because it's got, we had a comment on here I wanted to read out. I don't know if I could find it, but it was basically someone had commented in that they were really happy to see this kind of working together, right? Because it has been, and, I think it's been justified contentious in some ways between the administration and the legislature, because, half of your job has been trying to be that check and balance in this crazy time we're living in. But this comment had said something along the lines of that they were really glad to see you guys working together, and they were hoping that this was kind of the beginning, a new beginning, so to speak. Is that the sentiment that you guys have too, Madam Speaker?
Well, we've been working hard all term, I think, to really work together and I think a big part of that is just sharing information. So I try to share whatever information comes my way. I try to give them advance notice of everything that I think is going to, come upon us during the session as much as I can. And I think we've all just tried to work together in that regard. Committee on Rules is also doing the same. I think they're giving us notice of everything that's going on with them. They are showing us referrals to bills immediately so that we're all kind of in tune. And the minority, I have a very good working relationship with I think all the individual senators, but also with the minority in general. And so with the cooperation, of course, with all my colleagues in the Democratic side, I think it's just about work, really. And so if you concentrate and you focus on the work, then everything else goes away. And it's just get down to the actual work that you have to do. And when any tempers start to flare or, emotions, you just got to focus right back on the work. And so I think, everybody's trying to really do that. And I actually very much appreciate that, because I can see the work that they put in, they do their research and they come prepared. And I very much appreciate that. So for me, I can work with anyone who's going to do the hard work.
Sabrina?
No, I was going to say, I thought that was significant that the legislature put up this unified front in submitting this letter with all 15 senators signing off on the spending priorities. But just looking at, and we kind of talked to Senator Duenas about it, these costs, right? And the need for more information on just how much money are we looking at with the 664 to pay down some of the debts that are owed? I kind of asked him earlier about, the government quarantine facilities and the amount that's still owed. And is that money going to come from the ARP to pay off that $20 million debt or whatever it is right now to these government quarantine facilities?
Not to my knowledge, Sabrina. If they were able to procure that, then they had to have shown that they had a viable funding source for that. And I've always been told that they were going to pay that and then get reimbursed by FEMA. So I haven't heard otherwise at this point. So that's what I'm expecting. And no, we're not expecting to pay for those facilities with this money at this point. I think CARES money went to that. And I'm hoping there's no outstanding liabilities that the government has that we're not aware of at this point. I surely hope we're not going to have to spend this type of money on those types of things.
Right.
They should have had funding in order to procure it.
Have you heard anything new about the government quarantine facility and the isolation facility, and whether or not they're going to what are they going to do? Are they going to downsize it, put it into a smaller hotel, or combine them? Have you gotten an update?
Say that I've probably heard everything you've heard, yet it keeps changing, right? So now it doesn't, I don't have any idea what they're going to do at this point with the quarantine facilities. So they had told us months ago, maybe at least 2 or 3 months ago in an oversight hearing, that they were consolidating them and that they had an RFP out. They were doing the procurement, and then, it was just a matter of, they had a procurement issue. It was delayed. So no, I don't know what is causing that delay. And I just hope that all that money is going to be reimbursed at the way they are doing it.
Yeah, we haven't even heard with the isolation facility too, Bree, right? There was something like we got this whole hotel and we got 3 people in the isolation facility.
Right. Bree was talking about, they had talked about consolidating the isolation and quarantine into one building and, operating them separately. But yes, that's what they talked about months ago, and we still haven't seen any movement on it. I haven't, Sabrina, same as you. Yeah. But if I could, about the ARP, this planning, so we gave the governor a general idea of our priorities, but I think, when we meet with her, we're looking forward to expressing to her our general sentiment on this, is that because this is a one-time, influx of funds, and they're huge amounts, really. So we really want to take care, like you said, Chris, of those perennial problems that we have not been able to get over despite our efforts. And so we're hoping if we can do that, then moving forward, with general funds, that's, part of maintenance and just, kind of regular operations, that if we can take care of these big issues, such as, bringing in the infrastructure, bringing in repairs to the parks, bringing in revenue generating utilities and roads out to areas that right now are not served in Guam. And we're hoping we will be able to expand our economy that way. We will be able to expand affordable housing, for sure. And that's what I think is going to help us in the long run. So I really see that type of concrete.
And I think that's one of the things that the governor has done, I think has said, in her last interview, at least here on the link, when the president signed the ARP, was that this $600 million, it has to, we have to stretch it, because it has to be used to help rebuild our economy, because we have to stretch it for 1 to 2 years, because tourism, we're not going to see, people arriving in droves come 2 weeks from now. And so your spending plan, does that address that?
Absolutely. Yes. It's, for example, I'm going to bring back the education programs. We're tying our education into long-term changes, right? We're going to boost up teachers. We're going to improve our healthcare system in general by increasing nurses, increasing nurse assistants, increasing all technologists in the medical fields, all types of medical personnel on Guam, so that our needs are taken care of. And in the immediate, we take care of them. We pay their apprenticeships. We help them, retrain. And I'm hoping we're going to have a thriving healthcare economy. Hopefully when this is done. The same thing with the utilities, that we're bringing water to places that did not have water, and that is absolutely going to bring huge costs down for huge tracts of land on Guam, that we can have businesses, we can have housing, we can have communities, and we need this, as you know. So I just think that too. And if the workforce programs, we've got several different sources of money coming in. Same thing with infrastructure. Congress might pass an infrastructure plan, and that's going to bring in more money just for infrastructure alone. But for example, the workforce plan, we've got money coming in from the federal government to the Department of Labor for workforce training, for job expansion, for, helping these people get jobs. And we also have our H-2B visa fees that goes into apprenticeship programs, and we're expecting an increase in that this year. But on top of that, we still added, 7 million GCC, 7 million UOG, because we really want to hugely expand those areas and to take care of them immediately in this retraining.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, if you just look back at the last year, we're in a situation where we had to import nurses, we had to import doctors. So, these millions that are going to go to these training and scholarship programs, just how crucial do you think they are? And again, kind of closing these shortages that we routinely see. It's sad when we get our best and brightest go off island and go to school, become, any of these professional fields that we're lacking here on the island, but then they end up having to stay off island to do the work because for whatever reason they can't afford the schooling or the opportunities aren't here.
Right. And I'm hoping very much that that's not going to be the case anymore, especially doctors. Doctors, we're hoping to get them back on Guam with this Protect Scholarship. We they have a service component, and so same thing with the nursing scholarships and the other scholarships. And so we hope, that's why I'm hoping it's a win-win, that they'll be able to work for us here on Guam, and while after we have helped to train them and we have helped to get them through this crucial period of unemployment, or any of those who are unemployed or want to be re-employed. But I want to thank, in order to get this done, I was very sure that I was going to do everything I could to get consensus. That was the biggest thing for me. I really want the governor to know that we are willing to work and we're willing to work hard. We want to have consensus with her as well. We want, to move forward with the implementation of these things. That's crucial. We don't want to be stuck in the stage of, we're still debating whether these are important enough or they're politically acceptable or not, but just let's get it done, because we only have a couple years to spend this money. It has to be done. So we're looking for projects that can get done quickly. And I want to thank, the Office of Finance and Budget. They started us off. They set out a list of things that had been asked from these agencies, especially, for many years, that we have just not been able to fund due to, our limited general funds. And so we started off with those. And then we, of course, had every chairman with oversight of those committees really hone in on the details and get our estimates as close as possible to what the need really was. And of course, these will change because, it wasn't an exact, estimate that we got. But and so they worked very hard to try to get these numbers solid and to try to make sure that we only address programs that are going to have direct impact on quality of life for the people of Guam. That's our key. We don't want to be oblivious or ignore the fact that people need food, and so as I said before, we tried to take care of the food shortage and in a previous bill. Hopefully that refinancing comes through and that money can be dedicated to food, along with the continued federal funds that are dedicated to food. The Recovery, the RISE programs, hopefully that can get implemented. We started off with that. That was one thing we definitely wanted to ensure gets done. If it's not done by any other funding source, then it really, really should be done with this funding source.
Speaker, I think of all, because it's a common sense list, right? And you guys are trying to put money. I think it's a good list. But that RISE Act, right? That seems to be like, when I look at this list, that seems to be like the one that's probably going to, like it or not, maybe be the most contentious, because I'm not really sure where the governor has finally come down on it. Remember, she was kind of saying that she felt that it discriminated against government employees, but then the AG opinion said it didn't and she could pay it. And we just haven't, I mean, I've asked Daphne Shimzu every time she comes on, hey, what's your update with the RISE Act? And we've asked her so many times that the last time she was like, you know what, when I have an update, I'll tell you.
Well, the way I look at it, I can only speak for myself, is I look at this as a minimum. You know, we're going to take care of those people who were making under this certain income, and we're going to take care of those who definitely were not employed in the government this whole time. And those people, I think, are in need. That's a minimum of who are in need. And so I think there's hesitation to take care of them. Let's just do that. And if you want to expand beyond any of the programs we've listed here, then I think, there's a way to do that. And right now, the big question is, how much money is going to go to this new hospital? If you put half of the money, 100 versus the 200 that we proposed, how soon can that money really be spent? What are, how far along are these plans, or are we going to put this money into a trust fund, try to gain interest? Is that even allowable? All those questions, I think that leaves that to me is the big factor that may change. And of course, if we are not able to spend that money on the hospital for any of those reasons, then that money is available for additional programs, additional infrastructure, additional.
So,
we were looking at PWA made an estimate of how to get water and sewer to subdivisions such as Gilbaza, Zero Down, right? And it looked like an estimate of about 7 million at the very least, maybe 14 million for some other subdivision in Atacao. But so we were kind of using those estimates, trying to get out to these big tracts of land. And, if you have to use that much money to get water or sewer out to these huge tracts of land, it's going to eat up a lot of this. So we're hoping for, another, that other infrastructure package from Congress is also going to come through and assist us in these efforts.
Have you heard back, Speaker, from the administration about whether or not we can use this money for building a new hospital? Because I said, the last I heard, I remember they were looking at the guidance.
I think, no, I haven't heard, and I don't think the guidance is out yet. So we too are keeping close tabs on this guidance, and it's not out yet. However, I think the issue is, how soon can it get done? That's the key, right? So if it was ready to go, I think perhaps it was more likely that there's no problem using the money for it, or to expand our current hospital. We put some money in this plan to take care of the current hospital's infrastructure as well, because they've made a lot of improvements during COVID, but we believe there still are improvements that need to be made while the new hospital is being built. So we put some money aside for that. Hospital, again, is going to be getting its own funds from the federal government. And so all of that, we had sent a letter to the governor asking for additional information on those types of things. And we don't have all the details of that yet. So these numbers will flex that way. For example, if the hospital gets enough infrastructure money off their own, then, we can take it off this list. But right now we put it on our list because we wanted to make sure that's our priority.
Mm-hmm. Is there any particular reason why you guys went with 200 as opposed to 300 million that the governor has already said that she wants to use for the new hospital?
Well, there were several reasons. One is, of course, there's a bill pending to finance that hospital in an altogether different way, right? And that would not need any of this money then. It would. That's a bill that's having a public hearing Wednesday, and that bill proposes to use the reimbursement from the EITC to finance a hospital. So that's one reason. The second reason is, we don't know which of these bills will pass, but the second reason was because there were just other projects that we wanted to fund as well. So we put a little less to that hospital because of our assessment of the state of the planning so far. And we're thinking, this is going to be kind of an advance payment on this hospital or a early amount, but we know the overall amount that the hospital is going to need is 700 million. So there's no way we're going to get around not having a financing plan for that hospital. And this, whatever money we put aside, is really just a small portion of that. It's kind of like a down payment or the first payment on it or something, or it might even just take care of the A&E and that's all. Not sure yet. They keep talking about getting grants to fund part of it. So all of that, I think, needs to be fleshed out, before this money really is going to be spent on a hospital. So we just didn't want it to be sitting around not being spent when people are in great need right now. So we're hoping we're going to find a way.
Is tomorrow's meeting face-to-face or virtual?
I think it's going to be face-to-face in the large conference room.
Oh, what time?
It's at 2 in the afternoon, 2:30. Yeah, 2:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I think, when you hear the governor talking to the media, I think we sound pretty consistent. Everybody knows the best thing to do with this money is to spend it on things that are going to improve our quality of life in the long run and get things that we have not been able to do with our general funds. So,
well, before we let you go, because we do have Juan Flores waiting in the Zoom room, I'm not sure if we got your reaction, but I wanted to see if you could give us your reaction if we didn't get it, because the day I left, we had just reported that Jack Hattig, the CLTC board, made the decision to, I guess, remove him as the administrator. And so then while I was away, I saw
actually, Bree,
and audit team. Go ahead.
They had said that they deemed him unsuitable for the job.
Right.
And then the chair, John Rage Jr., was supposed to be with the governor. They had a meeting. We didn't hear anything for a week. And then the next Monday, Jack Hattig submitted his resignation. No reason was given. However, he's going to be kept on Adeloop as a special assistant. And I did try and reach out to the chair last week a few times to get him on to the show, but we didn't get anything. So I guess, Speaker, not to take your thunder, Bree.
No.
What's the update with that? Have you heard anything at all about who the new CLTC administrator is, or what went on in the meeting, or anything?
No. I don't know what went on in that executive session, but I think they're moving on. So I hope that they do a good search for a new director. That's really my hope. I think they need to be. This commission has these exclusive authority to hire its director and set its salary. So I really hope that they are diligent about that and that they, are very, this is really the key, I think, to move forward with this whole land trust. And we've even put some money here to get infrastructure out to those properties. So these homes can be built. Affordable housing can be built in those areas. Businesses can thrive in those areas. Roads can be put down. We are hoping that, they're going to come up with a director who's able to facilitate these things. But I have not heard, I haven't seen an ad for a search, and I haven't heard how they intend to fill that position. So I just hope that these individual commission members are going to be diligent about that.
Thanks.
But I mean, what is your reaction, though, to hear that the Chamorro Land Trust Commission board finds him unsuitable, but yet apparently he's suitable for a job at Adeloop?
I can't speak for Adeloop, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't know their thought process. I don't know the whys. I don't know the answers. Sorry, Bree. I mean, those are good questions. I have the same questions, so I don't know. Perhaps there are different tasks that they feel he's suitable for, and that they have those up there at Adeloop. I'm not sure.
Classy answer. All right. Thank you, Speaker.
Right. Thanks for the time. And really, I want to thank my colleagues for their cooperation. It takes time to walk through numbers and talk to people about all the details in here. And some of them, they're very busy. And but they really had to dedicate time to doing this. And they really had to open up, their, willingness to let's just all cooperate. This is all for the people. And so I'm very grateful that they see it that way and that they were able to do that for the people of Guam. To all of you for highlighting programs in here. Take care.
Take care. Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. There you go. Speaker Therese Lahi. Let's go ahead and stay in the Zoom room here where Catholic School Superintendent Juan Flores has been standing by. That's an understatement. Thank you. Sorry for the delay, Dr. Juan.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm actually sitting by, but that's all right. The speaker and the issues she addresses are much more important than having me on board. But happy to be here. I'm really sorry about last week again.
No, don't worry about it. But let's just keep on that American Rescue Plan. Are private schools at all involved in any conversation to get any of this money? And if so, what? And give the deets.
You know, I want to be very clear that we're getting no money at all through the Education Stabilization Funds or the American Rescue Plan. What we're getting are services that are being procured through GDOE. It would be great if Uncle Sam just wrote Juan Flores a check and I could go out and, shop for the schools. But we really are going through a process whereby all of our projects are being reviewed by GDOE's Federal Program Office. And those guys are incredibly patient with me, especially, and then also reviewed by the U.S. Education Department. But yes, the services that we're being availed of in the American Rescue Plan is something to the tune of 26 or 27 million dollars. And one of the stipulations that I really like is that 20% of the services that we will receive have to be associated with evidence-based or research-based practices. And for us, it means getting professional development for classroom instruction or procedures that have already been scrutinized and have been demonstrated that there's evidence that those activities will be effective in helping students learn in the classroom. So that's a big challenge. That was not brought up in the Education Stabilization Funds in the 2 rounds, but the Biden administration and the U.S. Department of Education, U.S. Education Department under the Biden administration insists that part of what we do, especially for learning recovery, that we actually implement research-based or evidence-based practices.
Mm-hmm. So you said 26 or something like that million?
Yeah, I have something like that. I'm sorry that I don't have the exact dollar amount in my head, but
that's okay. But is that out of the 287 million that the Guam Department of Education announced that it was receiving in ARP funds?
Yes. As a state education agency, GDOE has determined that the students in the non-public schools, the Catholic schools, the other non-public schools, the other private schools, the charter schools, will receive services at the same level and with the equitable allocation as all the public school students.
Okay. And so therefore public schools share of that 287 is the 20+ million that you mentioned. I see. There was something that we had discussed months ago about, I want to say it was a study that you were going to be conducting, and I can't remember if it was related to whether or not students were still, I don't know if it was learning loss or if it was the curriculum. Do you recall what I'm talking about?
Well, one of the
we're going to do an assessment or a study.
Yes, one of the things that we proposed, but we're actually finding different ways of doing it now, is to assess the students to determine the extent to which learning loss actually occurred. So, and right now, I'm advocating for doing it at the classroom level or at the school level, where we're trying to get a program that could be used in each classroom to assess the students in the 4 major core subject areas. So the teachers will know that 3rd graders at the beginning of the school year actually know certain things from 2nd grade or don't know certain things from 2nd grade, and they could start from that. And actually, I want to say that good teachers do that anyway, right? Mm-hmm. I have a friend who is a 5th grade teacher, and I remember the first time he told me that at the beginning of the school year, he gave his students the final exam for the 5th grade math from the 5th grade math textbook. And I said, well, that's crazy. That's unfair. The kids haven't had 5th grade math. And then he explained to me that the reason he did that is he wanted to find out where they were already strong in their math skills, and then where they had challenges, and then to focus on those challenges, right? So he'll still mention the areas that they're doing well in. And I think we want to do the same thing. If our students at the 6th grade level can write at a certain level, right? So they know verb and subject and verb agreement, but maybe they're not great at spelling, or maybe they're not great at using adjectives or adverbs, then they can address that, because maybe that's something they should have learned from the 5th grade. And that should be especially true in those transition years, right? So for the high schools to find out what are middle school students coming into high schools with in terms of strengths and challenges, so that they're not going to be behind the 8 ball, that the teacher will already know what their challenges are and work to overcome those challenges. It might not happen in 1 year, but I think if we start it, I think we'll have a great chance for those students to be successful.
Oh, one thing I've noticed is that I see all the press releases that come out of GDOE in terms of vaccination clinics that are being held at the different campuses. Is that something that the private schools have been having as well, or are you guys not folded into this discussion?
It's been offered, and actually for the high school students, those 16 and over, that's been offered. But the principals let me know that many of the students were doing it on their own anyway, that with their parents, they were going and getting vaccinated. So I'm not exactly sure. I haven't done an accurate count, but upwards of 60% of the students who could have been vaccinated have been vaccinated. And so we're now in discussions with public health and others about doing the same thing for the kids from 12 to 15 years old. The one thing that the schools have asked me to do is to encourage whoever's organizing these things to have these clinics, these vaccination clinics done when parents are available. Because parents have to escort their kids. So let's not do it in the middle of the day when parents are working. Let's do it in the evenings and on Saturdays, or on weekends, maybe only on Saturdays, so that it'd be easier for the parents to be able to take their kids. And I think that would encourage the participation.
Okay, so have you heard when they're going to roll that out in terms of lowering the age group? Because we did have Dr. Hoa on earlier, and he was mentioning they may roll it out next week. Have you heard that?
I haven't gotten a definite date, and I'm actually glad that sometimes we get the heads up that it's coming, because that gives me a chance to let the principals know and for them to react and maybe suggest the best way to do these things. And like everybody else, but especially the principals, they're juggling 100 things at the same time. So if I can steal a moment for them to think about something constructive, many of them just respond and reply right away. Some of them take a day or so to respond, but at least they put it in their heads that they've got to think about it. And getting the heads up really does help.
Mm-hmm. What kind of discussions are you guys having now for next school year, and preparations for next school year?
Having it.
Yeah.
encouraging full, if not almost all, full face-to-face participation by all students, ensuring that we continue to have the right health and safety protocols in place, and that we have all the equipment needed for all of that. And some of that is coming from the procurement of items for PPE and things like that. And the other thing is that I think if the schools are anticipating that there are going to be challenges because students have been out of school or have had to have hybrid arrangements, or they just haven't gotten in their blood that school is back in session, we're going to try to figure out a way to get them I was going to say something really kind of 70-ish, to get them in the groove, And fortunately for us, the majority of our Catholic school students have been in school since January. So being in school for face-to-face instruction is the norm. Wearing a mask is the norm. Hopefully, keeping social distance is the norm, and washing your hands often.
Oh, well, speaking of social distancing, there was this picture that was circulating around social media, and it was a picture of the FD graduation. Yeah, you're kind of smiling, chuckling about it, but yeah, because people were saying, hey, that doesn't seem right. We've got all these kids taking a group picture. They're not wearing masks. What happened to social distancing? So, have you gotten those similar concerns?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, first of all, that I worked with the school principals to actively advocate for the kinds of graduation ceremonies that the schools want. And the overwhelming sentiment on the part of the principals was these kids deserve it because they have come to school for face-to-face instruction. They have given up all of what normally would happen. I make a joke about the kindergarten graduations, right? Because they're 5 years old and they've only had 1 year of school and yet they're already having a graduation. I mean, I know that's a traditional thing, but you know what? If that's the norm, then let's try to get back to it. So I think that what happened at Father Duenas, while it wasn't perfect, I mean, I was there for most of the time. And yes, there were some situations. There was a safety person there. And when I mentioned to him that there were some concerns, he was on it right away. He was walking the building. He was reminding people of what needed to be done. I wasn't in the room. I wasn't in the Phoenix Center when the photo was taken. I didn't even know that it was going to be taken, but that's how quickly it took place. And right after they took their masks off and had the picture taken, smiled, and then put their mask back on, it was only a matter of minutes. Now, could there have been a transmission of the virus in that quick minute? Maybe. But I don't think it was, and it certainly was not a sort of purposeful snub at the protocol. It was an attempt to try to get some kind of normalcy, and I know that photo was taken every time. Maybe we need to find another way to have an all-group photo. But I think even with some glitches, the protocols are followed pretty well. And, one of the challenges that we had last Wednesday, which we didn't have last year when FD had graduation, was people are letting up, right? People have been vaccinated, people are going to bars, they're doing things now that are not as restrictive as they used to be. And I think the emotions of the graduation overtook a lot of people that night. And if there was some hugging and close contact with people with or without masks, I think overall what people were responding to was, their emotions surging because of that graduation.
Well, let me ask you, Juan, next graduation you guys have at the Catholic schools, would you do this again? The class pick with the no masks and all that?
My understanding is that the next graduations, the next high school graduations will not have the same thing.
There you go. All right. Bree, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was there anything else?
No, the last thing about the graduation is before I even heard from him, I initiated an email message to Art St. Augustine and his staff because they've been working with us and they've been supportive of the indoor graduations. And I assured them that I'll work a little harder to make sure that the protocols are followed, maybe a little better, and that we won't do anything that will jeopardize the integrity of the protocols.
Summer school, last question, Juan. Are you guys doing any summer school?
There are 3 schools, maybe 4 schools that are availing themselves of funding through the education stabilization funds to be able to pay. One school has decided it's going to have summer school, but they're just going to require tuition from the families. They're not taking advantage of the federal funds. So we're working with them right now to get what are called service agreements through GDOE, where they turn in paperwork. They're like vendors, and then they'll be paid through GDOE. At least the coordinators and the teachers will. So as soon as those are fully developed, I think the schools will be making formal announcements.
All right. Keep us posted, Juan.
Okay.
We'll see you. Quick break, guys. 9:18 on the link. We're back with more next. Good morning.
Family platter of fried chicken?
Check.
Tray of red rice?
Check.
Birthday cake?
Check.
1 case of water?
Check.
12-pack of beer?
Check.
2 cases of Pepsi?
Check. When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Make sure you're connected. The writing's on the wall. 'Cause if your mind's neglected, stumble you might fall.
Connection is a human necessity, one we need today more than ever. And with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances. And it all starts with yes.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
After a year with so many games and events delayed or unplayed, the world is ready for anything and everything in the world of sports. KUAM Communications is ready with more games, more championships, and more specials that are guaranteed to bring out the fan in you. Don't miss a minute of gameplay from NBC on KUAM TV 8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month, we'll bring you the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer, and Docomo Pacific. Just more great reasons to tune in and turn on so you'll fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@kuam.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say.
Welcome back to The Link, everybody. Your work week is started and work continues down at the court, where the quest for justice never sleeps. And you know what? Our friends down at the court system also are very, very big advocates of physical fitness too. And as such, they have a 5K coming up. We welcome into the KUM News Zoom room Tina Blas and Michelle Cruz, who are both joining us. Ladies, hafa and good morning to the both of you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
You're always welcome here. You guys know you got spots at KUM. And, you know, it used to be like a running joke around here at KUM when I was doing our KWM News Extra show, you know, we would have so many interviews about 5Ks, like at least once a week and everything. But honestly, after a year of not doing it, I have been waiting to do this interview for a while. So, you know, tell me all about the 5K that you guys have planned, please.
Hi, Jason. Good morning. Thank you. So this is our 13th annual race Judicata 5K, and it is part of the Law Month event. So we're really excited. It's virtual, and you can do it from a treadmill. You can do it anywhere.
Nice.
And actually, the first 300 winners get a free tote bag. So we just wanted to come on here to really promote it, and we wanted to let everybody know that they can still register. The last day to register, I believe, is this Friday. But the beneficiaries of this 13th annual race is EFIC, our Court Employee Association, and Island Girl Power. So I really wanted Miss Juanita to come on here and speak to the mission of Island Girl Power, because I believe it's very important. So yeah, that's really just what I wanted to say. And
yeah, there she is. Good morning, Juanita. Man, I would know
Good
those.
morning.
I would know that backdrop anywhere.
It's one of those, you know, just pick from your now. I can't fake the leaf moving.
Exactly. You know, Zoom is an amazing technical platform, but all the virtual backgrounds they have can never hold a candle to just like amazing Guam foliage.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you to EFIC and also the bar and the judicial system for taking our program and allowing us to be a beneficiary for the virtual 5K.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to ask Michelle if I can bring you in for this one. I know one of the big things of the race of Judicata in years past and everything has always been like the use of color. Even though we're doing this year in like a, obviously it's a virtual setting. So as Tina so effectively said, you know, you can do it on a treadmill. You might do it on an elliptical. You know, if you're one of those people who spent their stimulus money on a Peloton, first of all, I'm jealous because Peloton is awesome. But when you do that, we can certainly participate and we can contribute to the cause. But are you guys factoring in any like color theme? Like, should we wear articles of clothing wearing a certain color when we do that?
You know, we haven't discussed that, but I think it would be a great idea. We are asking people to tag us and tag Race Judicata if you guys are out there participating. So I think it would be great to kind of make it nice and colorful.
Very cool. Okay, now since it is a virtual 5K, right? Time of day, you know, day of week, and everything like that can be like a little open-ended, or are we saying you have to do it at a specific date and a specific time, and you have X number of minutes to complete this?
Nope, no specific times. It doesn't mean, you know, you don't have to do it just on a Tuesday. You have to do it before it closes. But I've actually seen a couple employees from the judiciary have actually tagged us, and they did a sunset one the other night, and it was really beautiful. So it'd be nice to see all the different entries. Yeah.
Okay, may I ask how have you, if you guys haven't done it yet, how do you plan to do it? Because I love when the legal community gets in on these things, because there is, you know, like that natural, you know, competitive, either whether it's between the litigators or, you know, like it's the people that work down at the court. But I mean, you guys always try and one up each other, and it's wonderful to see.
well, for me, I think I was just going to spontaneously do it on a random Wednesday or Thursday this week. And I was just going to do the, you know, Paseo route. I was just going to go to Bank Pacific, turn around whenever it hit 1.5.
Cool. Okay, I was also going to say, I think, what was it? If you go around the Paseo, like if you're walking down there downtown, I think it's maybe 4 times around, if not 6 is maybe a 5K. A lap around the entire Paseo like facility and everything like that is you're gonna put some steps on your Fitbit if you do that.
Yeah, I believe it's 6. I believe it's 6 rounds if you're just going around the baseball field, right?
Yeah.
Because I know it's 800 meters for one lap. So.
Yeah, if you want to go to the more traditional route, and this is the one part about these interviews I always love, and I always ask people, like, you know, what's your route? But the fact that you guys are doing it virtual, you know, you can do it in the comfort and privacy and safety of your own home, or if you want to go out and, you know, do it and be safe and respect others and everything, you can do that too. And I know if you start at a loop, You go all the way down and basically turn around at Chief Kapua and then go back, and that's more or less a 5K.
Yes.
Excellent.
It is. So are you going to sign up, Jason?
I definitely am, man. It has been so long since I've done a 5K. And
Jay, don't do that
oh,
to these
here
people.
comes Chris. Oh, look,
I'm sorry, I had to cut in.
Look who's joining the interview now.
Fact check.
I think he wants a challenge. That's what Chris is doing right now.
No. I don't want none of that.
No,
I'm
no.
retired from running.
No, I definitely am, because not only do I have like a lot of friends in the legal community and everything like that, but I also really believe in Juanita and the work she's doing with Island Girl Power. She's a fantastic resource for our community, and anything we can do to support them.
Yes.
Amen.
I wanted to ask Miss Juanita, do you mind just speaking a little bit to what Island Girl Power does?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So Jason and Chris, they know what we do at Island Girl Power, but there's so much more that we do to assist victims with our voucher program. Island Girl Power is created as a female empowerment program for young girls to learn coping skills, to learn traditional cooking skills, to help with suicide and teen pregnancy prevention. But we, in the past 6 years since our renovation, we've been able to service more community members and offer first-time offenders, certain cases, community service through the courts, through their probation officers. We've been able to help kids in need with their alternative credits, their school to work and service learning. So these are kids coming out of either DYA or sanctuary, also the community in general. So, the fact that the judicial system is doing this fundraiser for us, honestly, it's really acknowledging the work that we do to help the families that are struggling with different situations, different challenges in, playing with girls and doing jump rope and hula hoop and gardening. That's not all we do. We serve a lot of victims, families.
Yeah, you can contribute in a variety of very, very positive ways. And, Juanita and her team and the very fine work that they do over there on East Sing Sung Road and the clubhouse and everything like that are much appreciated. So, ladies, let me ask now that you've, hopefully we're going to get Barnett into doing this too. And if Sabrina is still in quarantine, which she is going to be for at least another day.
How many laps around a Deucet suite is a 5K?
Well, she's got like an 8,000 square foot room. So.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so
probably have to run around the room.
I think you might be able to get your Fitbit to react if you do some jump rope.
Right. There you go. Okay, so how do we register and how can we make sure we're officially part of this? Is there like a web form I have to sign up or something I can download?
Yeah, so actually you would just sign up at guambar.org, but it's not the 5K it's an honor system, so you're not going to be submitting your results or anything. It's just when you sign up, it's an honor system. You just make sure you hold yourself accountable.
You hear that, you lawyers? The honor system.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you get Chris's, you might want to fact check that because he's gonna say, "Oh, I ran 300 miles."
Oh, come on, Jay. 200 miles.
Okay, so guambar.org, and you can check out the documentation there. And when is the deadline again, Michelle? Because you said we want to get our times and our distances in by the right time.
So the last day to sign up is Friday, the 15th.
Very, very cool.
All right, and it's virtually. I've actually hosted this 5K a few times over the years, and it really is just one of the cooler 5Ks with some cool theme, and they got a poster contest, all kinds of stuff. So glad you guys are able to do it, even if it's virtually. Tina, thanks for coming on. Michelle, appreciate your time this morning. Juanita, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Right on. You good, Jay?
Oh yeah.
Any more tough questions?
Thank you guys for what you guys are doing for our community and everything like that, because we're certainly better off because of it.
Amen.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay,
right,
we'll see you,
likewise.
ladies. Right on.
Bye-bye. That's good. Okay, so what do you
Juanita is
think?
going to stick around, I think,
Yeah.
for just a minute. Juanita, thanks for sticking around, but you also had something.
Hi.
Bree, where you at, Bree?
No, she's coming in.
Okay.
There she is. Oh,
I'm here. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, she's there.
It's
Yeah,
a nice
what-
reunion. Even if you're in isolation, it's a reunion.
Yeah.
Juanita, did you get a
I
look
wanted
at?
to ask because
Oh, I'm sorry. Was it Juanita? Did you get a look at Sabrina's vantage point from the 18th floor overlooking Tumon Bay? It is nice.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. That's really struggling there.
I
You're
did
really
wanna-
struggling in isolation.
Yep. That's why when Senator Duenas was like, this morning, Senator Duenas was trying to be a smartass. He's like, oh, you're still in jail. I'm like, yeah, if that's jail, let me go commit a crime right now because, whew.
No, we don't need you to do that.
No,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah, we held you back a little. We held you back a little bit because I did see something on social media about. I think it's Island Girl Power. It was on your social media about pancakes for a purpose.
Yes. And wow, we're so. It was kind of a tough call for us. We've been doing this for years with the Simon Sanchez Pro Start and marketing, their culinary team, and it's more of a way to highlight what the students are doing with their careers, and have the pancake fundraiser. They're cooking the pancake. They're helping to promote through the marketing club, and we've done it for 6 years. It's our 6th annual. It's kind of limited this year. You know, we can't have our dine-in. We can't have people all over the center, you know, with a canopy and a sitting area, but it's a to-go. And with this, we're also on the Eventbrite. They have a choice to purchase their own to-go plate and maybe sponsor a plate for a family, for a young girl that's been in the program. And that just helps with our fundraising. We have a limit of 100 plates that we can sell because of the restrictions and because we don't need lots and lots of people parking and getting down and that kind of interaction. We're trying to be extremely mindful of the restrictions. And of course, you know, the increased numbers is kind of worrisome. So we've discussed a possibility, if need be, to cancel. But for now, the event is still on May 22nd. And wonderful Chef Bill over at Simon Sanchez is coordinating the students and getting them all excited. And the volunteers at Island Girl Power are moving mountains. Mountains of boxes, mountains of things at the thrift store. We are getting ready to also do a opening of the thrift store.
Right.
We've only done outdoor sales.
Yes.
So it's an all-in-one day.
Wow.
And people can sponsor through Eventbrite. Please, your donations are greatly needed. If you can't do the pancake to go, then contribute by sponsoring, and it helps with our fundraiser.
Juanita, how's it feel to be back? I mean, because obviously the pandemic, you weren't able to raise funds or do all these things that you guys do to kind of keep your programs up and running. So is it kind of you feel that return to normalcy, sort of?
It sort of feels that way, but without the little girls running through the center, it's so not the same still.
Yeah.
We didn't stop activities. We were very busy during COVID with relief efforts, but this whole time we're just missing the girls.
Yeah.
We're missing the girls and the instructors and the classes. And it's nice to have the community gardeners at the center and the volunteers for the outdoor sales at the thrift store. But nothing beats little girls running around and having fun.
Amen.
And so that'll be my return to normalcy, Chris.
Well, you let us know when that happens, and we'll get you on and broadcast it, okay?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to say one more thing. The May 22nd, the Pancake Fundraiser, it's nearly 2 decades of partnership with GCC and their Center for Civic Engagement. And I just wanted to, just thank GCC for always being such a wonderful partner.
Thank you so much, Juanita.
Well, thank you.
Oh, one more thing. Thank you to Bureau of Women's Affairs and the Women's Council. They've also done some sponsorship of ingredients and logistics. So, oh my gosh, I had to make sure to mention them. Thank you.
Thank you, Juanita.
You take care.
Okay.
Bye, Juanita.
Bye.
All right. We're going to take a really quick break and come back with Cover Me right here on the link. It's 9:38. Good morning.
KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link. Uno Go, delivering meals from your favorite restaurants and more, including delivering sodas and adult beverages from the Bottle Shack. Visit uno-go.com or download the app today. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook.
June makes the best malasadas in Hawaii, a fact not lost on Daryl, whose brother Byron is cooking the onaga he caught at a secret fishing spot with his girlfriend Malia, who used to work for the Shave Ice Guy, whose second cousin Vince drives the school bus ridden by Calais, whose auntie makes the best malasadas in Hawaii. Everything here is connected, and with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances, and it all starts with yes.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
I'm in yellow na guru primo I'm walking from my thoughts and them paneku. By fangon tun samurita pullo popko sala storia conta putta nota. Pues alla si zamizu zamane stamina tatu donta dizi amana conta. By fangon tun samurita.
All right, everybody, welcome back to The Link here on a Monday morning. It's time for Cover Me, sponsored by our friends at Burger King and Docomo Pacific. And we have a special treat for you guys. We debuted the video for a long drive home, from... I really, really like these guys. I am a fan. These guys are bringing back The Rock. These guys have really, really serious chops. Sabrina's charging her battery right now, but we actually queued up this video because this is their new track, Unclear Conscience, and you guys are really going to dig this track. Now, Sabrina actually, when she was on her way back from her trip to Vegas, she actually ran into these guys in, was it Japan? On her way back, right? Because she went through Hawaii on the way out. She went to, and she said, whoops, here she is. She's back in the Zoom room. And she got to see these guys, and I believe it was in the captain's lounge, and, you know, they recognized each other, and they just said, what's up? So before we play this, oops. Okay, there's Bree. Hey, Bree, you're sideways. Bree, so today's Cover Me is actually a special for you because it is your new best friends from A Long Drive Home. And can you just tell everybody how you ran into these guys?
I was at the airport on my way back, and I ran into them, and they were asking me. They go, "Hey, are you?" I go, "Hey, where are you guys from?" And they said they were from Guam, and they asked me. One of them asked me, "Are you a teacher?" And I was like, "No, why? Are you a teacher?" They go, "Oh no, because you look familiar." And then, I just eventually told them who I was.
Even with your double mask, they could still kind of make you out.
They were also just featured. I don't know if you saw this, but they were featured on a national music site. So they did a performance. Man, I want to say it was Pitchfork. I'm trying to Google it right now. I saw it on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they are actually traveling out there, is they went to go play at this. It's like an indie rock style kind of. I'm just gonna stop talking about it until I get the name.
If you are a really big fan of like the kind of right after the turn of the century, you had like your bands like your Fall Out Boys and your Sum 41s and like that, where there's a lot of deep emotion in this track, and you guys are really gonna like this one. So this is a Long Drive Home's brand new single, and you guys can check it out right now. Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes. Go out in there, support these, because these guys are working really hard and they're talented musicians. But this is their this is their brand new track right here on Cover Me, sponsored by Burger King and Docomo Pacific. A Long Drive Home with Unclear Conscience.
Sit here on my own, staring at my phone, just waiting for something. Just give me something. While you're out running around, I'm trying to figure out what it is I'm doing. How to get so confusing that I bleed out from the corner of my mind. Gotta slow down, make believe that I'm gonna be alright inside. So you could go, you can run away, and I'll be here, I will stay to face this pain. I'm lost, I can't recall why I waste my time at all, telling the same story. It's like you don't even know me. I don't deserve all that I have, and you know that I need you back. You continue to rule me. How will I ever make you see that I bleed out from the corner of my mind? Gotta slow down, make believe that I'm gonna be alright inside. So you could go, you can run away, and I'll be here, I will stay to face this pain. I will watch as you walk away from me into a life that was meant for you, not for me. So you can go, you can run away. I'll be here.
Did I not tell you you guys were gonna like that? It's sometimes
That
you
was
gotta
a
look at
killer
the
at the
darker tone.
end. The wedding ring into the glass of
That's
whiskey.
classic.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes you got to look at the darker tones too. But
Right on.
They use a lot of like really dissonant keys and everything like that. I've always liked that kind of music.
The guy can wail. Good,
Yeah.
great band. They're awesome.
Each of those guys in there is an accomplished
Dude
musician.
can wail, bro. Guy's wailer. It's 9:48. Quick break. We're back with more next. Good morning.
Make sure you're connected. The writing's on the wall. 'Cause if your mind's neglected, stumble you might fall.
Connection is a human necessity, one we need today more than ever. And with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances. And it all starts with yes.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Family platter of fried chicken?
Check.
Tray of red rice?
Check.
Birthday cake?
Check.
1 case of water?
Check.
12-pack of beer?
Check.
2 cases of Pepsi?
Check. When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too. Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentations, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, Bud Light Seltzer, and Docomo Pacific, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@kuam.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
Looking for TV schedules, upcoming sports, or special presentations, or what you may have missed over the busy week you had? Well, look no further than KUAM Digital Digest. This weekly emailed newsletter puts all kinds of information in the hands of subscribers each and every week. Just subscribe and we will make sure you keep up with your favorites and stay informed and entertained throughout it all. Go to KUAM.com, click on the newsletter tab, give us your email address, and you are all set. Brought to you in digital partnership with King's Restaurant and Ruby Tuesday Guam. It's the KUAM Digital Digest, your weekly guide to the latest information and best entertainment on the stations and platforms of KUAM.
Let's head over to the Dusatani Quarantine Central, where Sabrina Salas-Mantanani, I think, is about to get seen by the swab squad. Bree?
Yeah, the swabs. I can never say schwab right. Swab squad from Public Health. Let me just turn this around. All right. Hi. So what's happening? One more step closer to getting out of here? Yeah?
Yes.
What's your name?
My name is Nurse Richard from the Farm Public.
Hi, Mr. Richard, Nurse Richard. So what are we doing?
Okay, ma'am. Before we start, ma'am, this is your counsel from Public
Okay,
Health.
gotta.
Public Health allowance says here. And then before we start, ma'am, this is your consent form from Public Health.
Okay.
Can print your name here and your signature before we start your swab.
Okay, let's do that first then. All right.
And then, if you don't mind, ma'am, can you take your grab your chair in front of the door before we start your responses?
I gotta go grab a chair.
Yes, your chair.
Oh, yes. Okay, here's your pen. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I gotta go grab my chair and bring it over. Oh, man. Keep thinking about that nasal swab, dude.
I hope you don't have the Vegas variant, Bree.
Not even cool, Chris.
You have a seat first. I'm facing this way.
Facing that way.
Okay, then phone cover them up now.
Being even more scared.
Yeah, I'm just trying to distract you, Bree.
Okay, ma'am. Before we start, ma'am, can we check your name is correct?
That is correct.
And your date of birth, ma'am?
That is correct, unfortunately.
Okay, ma'am. Before we start, ma'am, to your both sides of your nose. Okay, ma'am. It's okay, ma'am. It's a little uncomfortable, ma'am. Okay, so
Yeah, I know.
nasal quarantine, ma'am.
Is this a PCR?
Yes, ma'am. This is a PCR, ma'am. Okay. Okay.
Not really, but let's do it.
Okay. I'll do it slowly, ma'am. Okay.
No, probably faster is better.
No, go really slow.
So you are looking live.
Inhale, ma'am.
What a baby.
2, 3, 4, and 5.
Oh.
Okay. At the other side, ma'am. Okay. 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 Inhale again, ma'am. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Are you okay, ma'am?
Oh, great.
No, call 911. Call
No,
911.
she's just panty like that, sir, Richard.
Okay, yeah.
I'm so sorry. For your result, ma'am, is within a 24 hours, ma'am. Public health will call you tomorrow, and they will give you further instruction, ma'am. Okay. If your result come out negative tomorrow, public health will release you, and you must continue quarantine at home for the remaining days. And for the releasing time tomorrow, ma'am, if your result come out negative, you will be released in the afternoon, 1 to 5 p.m.
1 to 5 p.m. Also,
Yes.
what if I wanted to apply for CSW?
Oh, you can talk to our social worker.
Okay.
If they can expedite for your result.
All right. Okay. So if I don't get the CSW exemption, what happens when I go into home quarantine? Can I leave to go get groceries? Can I,
no, ma'am.
It's straight home.
For the meantime, you're not allowed to go outside buying for your or any necessities, ma'am.
And so what's the process? How do you guys track that I'm actually in home quarantine?
They will give you for a SARA alert. Then they will give you update every day if you are quarantining you at home. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Okay.
Richard, thanks a lot. Thanks for what you do for Guam, man. Thank you, Richard.
Okay.
Okay.
You too.
Okay.
All right. Live nasal swab. That was perfect.
I bet that's a bunch of words you never thought you'd put together before this pandemic.
Wow, Bree, like you were leaning like against the wall. That swab almost touched the door.
Yeah, touched my brain for sure. Whew.
Okay, so you were asking him like if you want to apply for CSW status, right? So you can apply to be a critical service worker, which would mean
She'd be able to go to and from work.
restricted movement, right?
Right, yeah. But you don't got to do that, Bree. We're pretty good here, you know. I feel like when Bree comes in, it's like got to get serious now. No more playing, guys.
And Bree, overall, this would be your third ever test, right?
Fourth.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, the fourth time is when the three of us went together.
Yep. Her nostrils has caused us already.
Bulletproof, but
yeah.
Well, way to go, Bree. I'm surprised they don't have. I thought it was the rapid test. Sounds like it's the 24-hour one.
no PCR.
Wow. Well, there you go.
You took it like a champ.
Well, we'll be praying for a positive result. I mean, a positive. I mean, you know what I mean. We'll be praying for.
What? Okay. Somebody
we are going to be praying for positive results that are negative.
Bree, somebody that's actually capitalizing on Chris's thing about the Las Vegas variant, which by the way does not exist as far as we know.
And there's no Vegas variant,
but
guys.
Glenn Lujan was saying he goes, oh, Nenny Poodles, you got the showgirl Vegas variant.
Well, there were a bunch of
God, Glenn, when Bree gets out.
bunch of takeaways from this morning's show. Be sure to catch our primetime newscast at 6 o'clock as we kind of unpack a lot of this stuff. Dr. Ho Wen had some big reveals about them starting to look at the younger ages for vaccination. He also kind of talked about a QR code for people who have received the vaccine in order for them to come in and to be able to just go straight to home quarantine as opposed to being where you are now.
Of, verification.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that is going to be on our primetime newscast. We always got your 6, 9:58. Tomorrow we're going to get Sergeant Paul Tapau. We'll also talk with GMH Hospital Week and just find out a little bit more about the new hospital, where they are with discussions on that. Maybe something on the American Rescue Plan wish list funding. So that's tomorrow. We'll get through today, though. Bree, good job today.
Good job, guys.
Thanks for hanging with us for 4 straight hours. Once again, I mean, it's not like she came in exactly at 6. She was in Zoom at like 5:30.
Yeah, she was.
She always tells me, she's like, call me when you get into the office. So I've been up with her since like 3:15.
Right on. Well, Bree, good luck. Enjoy what hopefully is going to be your last day in the hole.
Yes.
Knock on wood.
And have a wonderful breakfast. That looks really. Is there anything left from like that massive like sausage you got? Or?
Eating anything.
Can you stop saying massive sausage?
Off for the rest of the day. Hello.
You got to stretch it out. Right on. Well, Bree, again, happy Mother's Day, and thanks for today.
Thank you.
Right on. 9:59.
And happy Mother's Day to all of you who continue to enjoy your Sunday evening in the States or all over the world. You guys be safe, please.
Right on. Hey, for Jason, Joe, Sir, and our KUAM TV fam, my name is Chris, and this has been the Monday, May 10th episode of The Link. Be safe, guys. Watch the road. It looks like we're getting some rain. It's going to be, I called it this morning. I said it's going to be a rain hot Monday. Like they say, if you don't like the weather on Guam, wait a minute. It'll change. For the Link fam, my name is Chris. Esta. Adios.